Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner and I'm here with Sean Bell.
Hello.
James Farley.
Hello.
And Matt Murray.
Hello.
We'd like to start the show by thanking our Patreon producers this month. Who are they? They're the full Nels crew. They are Aaron Patrick, Simon Nelson, Tom S., Jack Oven, Moomin Biscuit, Richard Sawyer, Dave Ernsberger, Colin Brown, Gasman, Gabby Pereira, and Graham McKay. They're the crew. They're the crew. They're the full Nels crew. We love them. If you would like to support the show, keep the lights on, then please go to patreon.com/TCGS. Various different tiers. There's bonus shows, which we recorded this week. Less said about that one, the better. Listener discretion is advised.
People seem to enjoy it.
Yeah, I know people said really nice things about it. We got very personal on that one.
Extremely personal.
Yeah, extremely personal.
I'm still wincing at the moment, just thinking about it.
We also did our live talks over on Saturday, where we watched a bunch of really old news reports from, and they were great. I really enjoyed that.
That was really good. Yeah, I properly enjoyed that.
It was a good one. And you can watch that now by signing up to the whatever tier. Have a little read there. Do your research. Do your research before you sign up.
Wait until the 1st of May, or else you get charged twice. But
that is a very good point.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah,
but you can watch last month's one now, which is available for everyone to watch on YouTube, where we talk over promo VHS tapes of old games, and that was also fascinating
as well, weren't they? Yeah. That's on our YouTube channel, right? Before we get to the feedback, do you want my notes from last week? Because I wasn't here last week.
Oh yeah,
poor little Charlie.
How was he?
Charlie ill. He's still rough. I mean, I mentioned this on the bonus show, but it's been an absolute nightmare for over a week now. He's got a chest infection and an ear infection. We thought it was coronavirus at one point, so we had to get him tested, self-isolated, and all that nonsense. It's mate, something they don't tell you before you have kids is that kids and antibiotics, man, fuck me, they send them loopy. So yeah, we've been. I've sent you videos of him just running up down the hallway shouting the number 12 and screaming like in agony when he's clearly not in agony. He just wanted to make a noise. It's just been awful. We've not slept. I nearly pulled out tonight, I'll be honest with you, so God knows how this is going to end up. But let's find out. No, I said yesterday that I might not, but then I think I'm going to survive. We'll see. This could be one of those ones that just goes completely off the rails.
I was going to say, if you're looking at the running time and it's either half an hour or 3 hours, then something's gone wrong.
Yeah, or I don't think we've done a show where you're here for half the show and then someone leaves the show for the second half. Let's do it.
What would we do? Would we just push someone else in, ring someone up?
Quickly
pretend to be me.
I'll get on the phone, Mom, can you just come over? I need you to...
We could just use like text to speech, just make out a script for you, and then just do that.
That's true,
It's got to be pretty easy, right? It's just got to be, what would the key phrases be, James?
Probably be like, you're an idiot. That'd be probably one of them.
Yep.
Just like, fuck off, James.
Yep.
Yeah, fuck off.
Yeah. That's not real news. Stuff like that.
Read the room. Read the room would be another one.
Okay, let's go through my notes from last week's show. Great show, obviously. That goes, I should just stop saying that at the start of these. James not reading the Lego Luigi story. Right, can I just explain something, James? We had a discussion midweek last week about you only reading the headlines of the stories, right? And we were like, for the good of the show, you need to read more of the stories. And then you sent me a picture of all the notes you made on a news story recently, right?
Yeah.
That means nothing if you're only going to do it for the news stories that you care about.
Well, yeah, but...
Well, no. I mean, literally, I'm listening to this, so I thought, I'd be interested to hear what the boys say about this Luigi thing.
It's boring, though, isn't it?
So what?
You might think that, but other people might disagree.
I know, but I can shape the news how I feel.
I can't believe James Farley's a biased news source.
Do you know what? Shaping the news, James, is fine. Just cut it if you're not going to put the legwork in. What's the point in going Luigi?
We would have
Mario
taken the
cries
piss
for
if you cut
Luigi?
it.
Exactly.
We would have taken the piss if he cut it. You can't win.
Exactly, this is what Sean's saying.
Okay.
My heart was not in that story. I would have rather just cut it. If I had done, I'd have heard all about it all the time. You know, so I've done it in a passive-aggressive way of just doing it that way.
Leave it in and read the very tiny news story explaining what happened.
I did.
That's all you got to do.
I explained what happened.
No, you didn't.
No,
There was a firmware update to market a new Luigi set. That was it.
Sean, why does he do this? Why does he just get to the point where he just lies? What happens there? Like, what goes on in his brain? I can get away with it if I just lie.
Dave, I don't remember what even happened with that.
Exactly. So why are you saying that you described it and you read the news story?
I didn't. I said that there was an update, and that was it. I mean, that's basically the story, isn't it?
James, come on, man. Like, there's a lot of questions about your commitment to this podcast already. Don't drum that home. You know, fight against that. This is an opportunity to prove people wrong. Read the fucking news stories, right? Did we do a show on Joypod where listeners could call in? Is the question that you asked early on in the podcast?
Yeah. I thought we did.
Joypod was a phone-in radio show for a year, so yeah, we did do that.
But no one remembers
but the
that
voicemails
stuff.
as well.
But what do you mean no one remembers that? That's where we made it big. That's where it took off, just because it was pre-Sean.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's the only period that matters. No, I meant when it was a podcast, obviously.
Okay. Check your foundations, Sean. Check them. Right, okay. Wasn't the point of the ESL? So this is the European Super League. Someone phoned in. We're not talking about Play Radio anymore. Someone emailed in saying, "Oh, wouldn't it be great to have an ESL console? Like, what franchises would be on there that that would upset the most gamers?" And you were like, "This sounds great. It's the one console future. It's the one console future," and moved on. And I'm sitting there screaming at my iPhone, going, "Isn't the point that it's only those games and no other games? Isn't that the whole point?"
Yeah, fair point.
You can't get into the European Super League. You can't get other games onto this European Super League console. So the whole point is that all the best franchises are on that console. And if you want to play anything else, you've got to get another one.
I mean, the question didn't really... I mean, it was Cammy that sent it in, so I can say this. The question didn't properly spell that out. So I'm going to blame Cammy.
For it wasn't entirely clear, was it?
I blame Matt.
Cammy, I didn't realize Cammy wrote it. It was a shit question.
But no, I mean, yes, given the context,
blame Matt and James for that.
Given the context,
Cammy,
we should have figured that out. Yeah.
To blame us.
Cammy, don't take that. It's definitely James and Matt's fault. They know the most about the European Super League. They should have known that that's what you were going for. Go on.
No, I just think that's not fair. I think we answered it very well, actually.
But again, how can you possibly think you answered that very well by going, "Oh, it sounds great. Okay, next question."
Exactly.
Anyway, other than that, great show.
I should say the reason it's not also my fault is that Dave had to explain to me why the ESL was a bad thing. Not that I was like refuting it. I just literally knew nothing about anything. So I just
but to be fair, no one would expect
whole
that.
thing.
It's like what I said on Twitter, and we're not going to talk about it today, but like what I said on Twitter about it is that, for those of people that are looking at this just going, "Oh my God, they're talking about football again," I wanted to go, I know, mate, I know you don't like football, and that's fine. And usually, yeah, you can get upset about little news stories from football that leak into the, everywhere like this. But this one is actually insane. Like, this one is genuinely mad. So just bear with people on this one. Bear with them. That was mad. That Monday. I don't know how it all happened on a Tuesday, didn't it? You were recording that night, and I was just thinking, I don't know how you can record a podcast after today. It's been madness. Absolute madness.
Because I said, it was getting to 8:30, and I was like, guys, do you need half an hour? Because it was like everyone was getting fucking sacked left, right, and centre and stuff.
Yeah, it's great. Right, okay, that was my feedback. Should we move on to listeners' feedback?
Yes. TCGS.corrections has messaged us. On last week's episode, Sean stated that Resident Evil Mercenaries first appeared in Resi 4, and James stated it started in Resi 2. Both of these statements are incorrect, as Resi 3 Nemesis was the first game to contain the Mercenaries mode. In future feedback, I will include my initials to differentiate from others. that you may receive after you mention other listeners may start to post feedback as me.
They did include the initials. Obviously, I've erased them.
Yeah.
So
we couldn't possibly allow that secret to get out.
.corrections has got their own calling card now, so we know.
So I was really hoping you were just going to read them out at the end of that. It's such a shame. Go on.
James and Sean, do you want to apologise now, or?
Yeah, it's pretty embarrassing.
Yeah, I really want to just say I'm sorry about that. It was a terrible error.
That's not hard. That's not hard, is it, James?
Yeah.
You should do that more, mate.
See, this is the thing, James. You make sure there's no sport in it, and no one comes after you anymore. It's great.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need to turn around and go, oh, no, I didn't say that. There's just no need.
Yeah, I mean, in my defence, I hadn't really played any Resident Evil games. It's basically the same as the Joypod thing. Everything happened when I arrived, and that's it.
Makes me sick. TCGS.co corrections again, but a different one. On last week's show, Matt described Dead by Daylight as a game where, and I quote, people play as a killer, Jason Voorhees or whatever. Although not incorrect, he has saved himself with the or whatever. Although I'll point out the omission of Jason Voorhees from the roster of killers in Dead by Daylight is one of the most contentious issues across the Dead by Daylight community. Licensing around Jason Voorhees is all over the place due to a massive legal battle, and the Friday the 13th game was Dead by Daylight's main competitor when both games were released in a similar period 5 years ago. Yeah, I am basically I couldn't remember because I get mixed up with Jason Voorhees, and then there's the other dude. There's the guy with the hockey mask.
Go on, who's the other dude?
The other dude? Yeah.
Well, that's the thing.
You're thinking of Leatherface?
Oh no, there's who am I thinking about? Well, there's
they both wear masks.
Yeah, there's a couple of masks. I'm like, oh, bloody hell, who's the other? And I couldn't remember Freddy Krueger at the time either. So I picked that name out, and then realised, no, that's not actually the guy that's actually in the bloody game, is it?
I mean,
I'm
be
interested
fair, because
who the other guy is, to be honest with you.
Is it Mike Myers you're thinking of?
That's the one, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, which one is it? And then I was like, is it Mike Myers? Is that the guy from Austin Powers?
Sorry,
no.
Michael Myers, yeah.
So, yeah, I was going to say, because for several years I did think, I was just like, apparently there's like a horror film that's got Austin Powers in it.
Can I just make it clear? I mean Michael Myers, not Mike Myers.
Yeah.
Just for the correction.
Before you get tapping away.
Yeah.
And there comes
hey baby, $100 million, baby, yeah. And then screaming and running out of the house and shit. Yeah. I'm up for that.
Yeah, I'm amazed actually I managed to pull Voorhees out of my brain, considering I was struggling with even something like Mike Myers. They continue. I'd also like to say that I loved hearing about your little storiette about Dead by Daylight. I love your podcast and tune in every week to hear about all these new and interesting games, knowing I'm going to load up Dead by Daylight and keep racking up my 2,000 plus hours because I struggle to try new things. So thanks for shouting out my favourite game, and I hope I don't sound like a bellend chipping it. Appreciate you.
That is a strange game. I know several people that have put that amount of hours into that game.
Yeah,
and every time I play it, I go, it's exactly the same every time. I can't get into it to that level. I've probably played it for about 5 to 10 hours and enjoyed that and thought, okay, right, well, what's next? But I know people that have just carried on playing it forever. It's mad. It's mad. That is a real sleeper game. I bet they've got some... I bet they've got a very decent core amount of fans that can keep that series ticking over for a long, long time.
Yeah. It's pretty big on Twitch as well, right?
Yeah, it's massive. Yeah, I mean, I've watched loads of Limmy streams where he's playing it, and I played a little tiny bit. I couldn't really get into it myself, but I reckon if you got 4 mates into it, it'd be quite good fun. But
what's a little tiny bit?
I was just doing it for Microsoft Award points at the time.
Yeah, unbelievable. Okay, all right.
But it's a really tough one, but no, I got it in the end. Luke Summerhays. All right, lads. Window chat. I'd put anyone you want for a window as long as it's not a car window. Well, I'm afraid
you're
Luke. Afraid you're out.
Hold on. Luke Summerhays isn't a full Nels, is he?
No,
he's not.
Right. Okay, Luke. So we're not going to ask you that of you. We don't trust you
wouldn't
until you're full Nels.
It's very kind of you to volunteer. Sorry. Yeah, go on, Matt.
Chuck him out of a window, will you?
They continue. A couple of years back, my mate Muss locked his keys in the car, and even though he regularly crashed on my sofa, he was really keen to drive home and get a change of clothes. Hang on, a couple of years back, my mate Moss locked his keys in his car, and even though he regularly crashed on my server, he was really keen to drive home and get a change of clothes. I mean, I want to know why he wanted a change of clothes.
I feel like he'd probably shit himself.
Yeah, I think let's just assume he shit himself.
Yeah.
All the locksmiths and garages were closed. It was 9 p.m. in a little British town, and after repeatedly checking he really meant it, I found myself with permission to smash his window in.
Oh, nice.
I took my toolkit down to the very affluent part of town where he was parked and gave it a good whack with my hammer. The sound reverberated like a gunshot and I barely made a scratch. With a bit of time and some hefty swings, I might have been able to go through it, but not before every house on the road had called the police. Turns out car windows are pretty strong. Who would have thunk it? And I appreciate y'all. I just finished typing this and realised it might be quite a boring story, but it was exciting at the time.
That's good. I like
fucking
that.
love the permission to smash a window in another car. That'd be amazing.
I would like to watch you do that as well, Matt. I'd love to watch you try and smash a car window.
But he's only allowed to use his forehead. That's what I want to watch.
I've always
just repeatedly headbutted it.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go down to like a scrapyard and like, how much, can I buy that car over there? It's like 50 quid, all the windows are intact, just to smash it with a baseball bat. A little bit like that scene from Space, to where you suddenly see them smashing a car up. I was like, that'd be really good.
That's everyone's fantasy, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
But I think, apparently by the sounds of it, it's not going to actually make much difference. Like, you're not actually going to do it.
You're just going to come away thinking, bloody hell, that was really difficult.
The reason Luke stopped was because it was in the middle of the night in an affluent British town. I'd love to smash a car. But
have you ever hit something hard with a baseball bat? The vibrations down to your things really hurts.
I haven't.
Really hurts.
I would bloody love to.
It's like when people I was going to say, it's like when people go to a firing range and fire a gun for the first time and they're like one shot and they're just like, ow, fucking hell. That's really hurts.
Yeah, I also really want to do that.
If I'd like to say this for our listeners, there's a lot of when we did the whole have you ever scammed someone like a gaming shop or whatever. If we can get this rolling, if you've ever not broken something, can get in touch, send your stories in. If you've made sure that you haven't broken something, then please send us your anecdotes.
There's a lot of great stories rolling in now.
Oh God, I can't wait. Okay, let's go.
Rafi. Hey guys, after hearing the Lego Luigi story, I mean, that makes one of us.
Well, no, look, that's the thing. We're finding out now all the information that I did reveal. So look, let's read through and let's find out what it says.
No, slow down. Reread that first bit of that email, Matt.
After hearing about the Lego Luigi story,
exactly. So not from this show.
No, it doesn't say that. It doesn't say that at all. It
very much implies
that. He heard
that.
it on this show.
Exactly.
I think he is implying that he did. Go on.
Mere coincidence, I think.
I don't think he is, James.
After hearing about doesn't say after hearing the.
After you guys
hearing
talk
about
extensively
heard
about
it third hand or on Twitter or something.
I think he heard it on the show.
Why
would he be contacting us?
If he heard it on the show, wouldn't he have said, after hearing about the Lego Luigi headline?
Yeah.
But surely that would be the way to go.
After hearing James's incredibly detailed story about Lego Luigi.
I think he was just being concise and he just omitted that fact, but we all know it should have been there.
Right, okay.
Well, we'll find out.
Okay.
After hearing about
you are a politician.
After hearing about the Lego Luigi story, where Lego Mario received a firmware update and starts crying out for Luigi, I was surprised that no one else saw the same issues I did. I feel weird that a toy can be updated to tell me that I should buy something else. I can only imagine the following voice lines are added. Let's go to the shops and buy Luigi. I mean, there's no line. I don't know if I should. Okay, I'm my number one, but my number two, Luigi's in another castle. Please visit Asda, Game, Smith Toys, and all the good readers to rescue my brother. Help me, yahoo!
Why has he turned into Count from Sesame Street?
I don't know where he's from.
I don't know, but fair fucking play to him for having a go at that.
Mate, honestly, have Illumination been in touch about the Mario movie?
I can't confirm or deny that at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah, it was me and Martin.
Welcome to my new movie, Meet Me, Mario.
yeah. So I didn't get the Mario gig, but I am in Hotel Transylvania 5. He continues, I want to know how frequently Mario calls out for Luigi, and if he continued to ignore his pleas to secure his brother from the shop at £50 value, does Lego Mario get sad? I'm not sure I could deal with a depressed Mario.
God,
right, okay, there's a few things on this. Firstly, I understand what you're saying, and the email was hilarious, but I think I'm just numb to that now because we've had toys that update trying to sell us more stuff, like in our front rooms for God knows how long. I mean, turning on we had the Wii U that used to light up and say, buy this! The fucking, playing the, Forza Horizon games, and you load it up and there's a trailer before you get into the game that you bought. This was before Game Pass, and then they updated the radio station, so they go, "Oh, have you heard about the new Hot Wheels island?" And you're like, "Oh, come on, mate." Do you know what I mean?
It's definitely worse aimed at kids, though, right? And especially putting like an emotional component in.
Sean, we're talking about a Hot Wheels update in a car racing game. I think
that game's for grown-ups, Dave.
Aimed at kids.
Hot Wheels are cool as fuck. They actually are. No, this reminded me. I remember years ago reading about it was an art installation, but it was like there's like a little toy guy just sat on a shelf, right, in a exhibit, and if he'd sense someone walking past, he'd be like, "Oh, can you come over here?" Like you'd speak out loud, and then he'd ask you to like move like one of his arms in a slightly different position or whatever, and you go, "Oh, okay, there you go. Lift my left arm up," whenever you do it. And then you're like, right, now, can you move my right arm? And he'd keep asking you to change his position, right, one way or another. And if you started ignoring him, he'd start getting really upset and he would never stop. So your only choice was eventually to just walk away and be like, I've got to just leave this toy. So yeah, I just imagine that, but with Mario, just endlessly pleading about.
I will say this, right? Okay, regards to Lego Mario, it is way. I don't know why all the headlines said "cried out for Luigi." It makes it sound way more sinister than it is.
Okay, I mean, so he wasn't like saying, "I miss my brother. No. Where is he? Oh God."
Yeah, no, right? No, it's just like
it's just suicidal.
What happens is that it's like I think I read it was like a 1 in 20 to 1 in 30 chance that it would happen, but it was like a bit of viral marketing more than it was direct. Yeah. Let's go to the shops,
and it's like and it is a cool thing to happen, right? Like sort of.
Yeah, it was. So what?
Go on, sorry.
So what happens is that when he's asleep, like if you leave him on his back for like a minute, he falls asleep, and then if you lifted him up, like there was a 1 in 30 chance that it'd just go, Luigi. Like that's it, right? Okay, that was all it was. And then that was a hint that Luigi's coming, if you know what I mean. But Luigi is being released in the shops.
Well, the thing is, because aren't there like weird trading laws around this stuff?
Because in the shop.
Because I remember when they added more Street Pass games to the 3DS. Do you remember the thing with the rabbit? There was this rabbit character that would tell you about the new games that they'd added. Oh, and then it would say like, "Oh, so do you want to buy them?" And in America, if you say no, the rabbit looked a little bit sad. But in the EU, that wasn't allowed because that's then like guilting you into a purchase. Like in the EU, rabbit would just go, oh, "Okay, then never mind."
We also didn't get Rusty's Real Deal Baseball either because there was that whole thing about about having to like negotiate the price for how much it was going to cost, which we didn't get for some reason. It was weird.
I didn't know. I knew nothing about this. It sounds fascinating.
No, there was Rusty's Real Deal Baseball was like another one of those download ones, and if you talk with the character in it, you could negotiate the price down of how much you'd have to pay, for like the full version or whatever of it. And you just had to keep on at it, but we never got it here. I don't know why, but so maybe because we don't like baseball.
Yeah, probably because that sounds highly illegal. But the the one that still gets me is that Talking Tom app. Do you remember the Talking Tom app?
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, that was big when Rachel was a kid.
What was that? You get Talking Tom, his little cat, and you spoke to him, and he repeated what you said in a high pitched voice. That was it.
Oh yeah.
Right? Kids used to love it, and I remember Harry playing with it on my phone, and then all of a sudden I see the phone thing come up, like as if he's calling someone. So I was like, grabbed it off him, pressed cancel, went back to the Talking Tom app to give it to him, and there was an advert on the top that it was like, call this for premium lullaby songs. And you pressed it, and it was a premium phone number. So they knew that parents were just handing their phone to their kids, and their kids would press that because it's just on the screen, and it would call a premium phone ring number. It's fucking, that is outrageous, mate.
Because we've seen ones like apps where it's there's supposedly like a kid protection thing. So when if you try to buy something, it'll come up with like, oh, what's 2 + 2, and then you have to choose the right answer theoretically to stop kids being able to figure it out and buy stuff. But then like the correct answer's like fucking bright green, whereas the others are red or whatever. So the kid's like, oh, I guess it's that one.
What's this on Android?
Fucking. Oh, sorry.
What's that on Android?
No, that's on iOS as well. I've done
iOS.
Yeah,
it was some dinosaur thing.
Mine just comes up with my PIN code. And Face
so
ID.
These are all in-game things. So play any number of like free-to-play or those kind of games on Android or iOS. It'd be like if you click on purchase, it will say put in your date of birth or put in do this sum.
Mm-hmm.
That's weird. All I will say is that in terms of what they're doing with Lego Mario, that is small fry compared to some of the other practices we've seen in some of our favourite games.
I mean, maybe if we'd been more explicit in the news story and explained what Mario actually says, then we wouldn't have had this confusion, but then we also wouldn't have had this enlightening discussion. So, swings and roundabouts.
Yeah, it's true.
Exactly.
I'm just glad Rafi heard about the story elsewhere.
He didn't. He was definitely on our show.
Didn't say that.
Okay. I was ended up massively misinformed.
Reggie Rabbit has emailed, long-time fan/listener Sean. In all the years of TCGS, I'm surprised you've never mentioned Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood. Love BioWare, can't keep your hands off RPGs, and allegedly adore Sonic. So this oversight seems odd. I'd like to think it's because Matt is supposed to be the source of knowledge of all things Sega, and you're just waiting for him to bring it up in the near future. Anyways, thank you for all the years of laughter.
I'm very confused.
Let's test him, Matt. Before you go on, Sean. Matt, what's Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood?
I don't really play RPGs.
Okay, brilliant. Go on, Sean.
It was a BioWare developed RPG on the DS, I think. When have I ever said I adore Sonic? When did that happen?
I think that has happened. And it was like, Sean, the Sonic liker.
I mean, it's not true.
Oh no, you are right, Matt. He has said that before, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He loves Sonic.
What is happening?
Couldn't get enough of it.
Yeah, I remember that. That was it was about a year ago when you were saying that actually you really love Sonic and you think it's better than Mario.
Yeah.
That's what you said.
I think you said collectively the games are overall probably better than Mario games.
The games have such good stories, and like Shadow the Hedgehog, it's like, oh, is he good? Is he bad? Oh, he's got guns, but sometimes he does good things.
You love guns.
I do love guns, and I love going fast.
When did Knuckles become good? This may be more of a question for Matt. When did Knuckles become good? Because he started as a bad guy, didn't he?
Well, he was tricked.
He was a bad guy. All right.
He was tricked by Robotnik.
It was the end of Sonic 3, I think.
I was going to say that.
Because he thought Sonic was trying to steal the Chaos Emeralds. And Knuckles is obviously, as we all know, he's the guardian of the Chaos Emeralds on that big floating island.
Sonic was trying to steal them, wasn't he?
I mean, Sean, were you into the story for the romance as well? Was that another thing?
Which one was it where Sonic had a sort of romance with a human woman? That was weird.
Sonic Adventure 2, wasn't it?
No, wasn't it?
I think it was that shitty reboot one on the 360.
Sonic the Hedgehog. It was that one that came out in 2016, I think. That was
16?
Yes.
2006.
Oh, sorry, 2006. Yeah. Oh dear, that's terrible, isn't
it? We're well old now, aren't we? I listened to a podcast. I might see if I can find a clip from it. There was a podcast that gave us a shout out, and we always like to play it when a podcast gives us a shout out. I'll see if I can find the clip from it because it was quite funny because they were talking about us as if we were old people. Like over the hill or something. You chat amongst yourselves. I'll see if I can find the clip.
We are old people. I'll do the next. Do the next message.
Go for it.
This is from Mr. F. Atboy. That's Mr. Fatboy. Dear Matt, it's well known that your relationship with the TCGS listeners has been up and down. We loved you for giving us all your t-shirts, then we pitied you for then asking for them back. We hated you for stealing cereal from a toddler, and we're embarrassed for you for your extensive lack of Sega knowledge. It's mainly been down rather than up, is what I'm saying. So I'd like to extend this olive branch of goodwill and allow you a moment to come up with a better name for a person.
Olive Blanche is a great name for an old lady, isn't it?
What's that?
What's your name? Olive Blanche. That's like a classic name for an old lady, isn't it? Sorry.
So I'd like to extend this olive branch of goodwill.
What's up?
And allow a moment for you to come up with a better name for a person, beginning with the letter O, than Orange. Cheers. Appreciate y'all. Oliver?
There you go. Job done.
There we go.
I mean,
redeemed.
It's not me you should be asking questions of, James. Sean, I think it's our listeners. What was that about? Right, I found the clip. So this is from Sunfire Tavern. So let the Sunfire Tavern podcast know that we're giving them a shout out back. But it's just, I always find it fascinating when you hear someone talk about your show on another podcast. Ready?
Approaching you about making a Sunfire Tavern. There's the one called the computer. I'll have to look it up actually. I think it's called the Computer Game Show.
Big fan.
Hey. For starters, right? I mean, it's a pretty generic name. Maybe that's the problem. It's too generic, so people forget.
They're saying it, and they're like, "Wow, I think it's called a computer game show, but it can't possibly be called that because that's stupid."
It's the most generic, terrible name ever. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, do you listen to any of these or what? Because I'm waffling on here.
No. I'm taking notes. I'm just quietly writing down. I've got to listen to all these podcasts. But yeah, no, I haven't heard any of these.
Well, I've managed to get myself into like a really solid rotation now. So it's called the Computer Game Show. TCGS, and it's run by a chap called David Turner and a group called Sean Bell, Matt Murray, and James Farley.
Well, hang on.
Firstly, I love that.
We're a
group. You're a group, and I.
But you run things.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
A bunch of local.
No.
I'll tell you what, though, I still really wish that we call it David Turner's The Computer Game Show, because I think that would be hilarious.
More of an accurate description, yeah.
It would have been so funny, especially when you were off the show. Like, if we still called it that.
Right, okay, what's that?
So they're UK podcasters. They're a bunch of nerds. They've got the same sort
The way he casually
mate.
chucks that out.
Thanks a lot.
They're a bunch of nerds. I mean, he's not wrong.
No.
We are. It's just weird hearing it in that context.
of level of interaction with the industry as we've had.
Zero.
So they know
Excuse
about
me.
it, but they're slightly older, so they're all like early
Offended.
40s, I think. And they've got...
Did you hear that? Did
Sorry.
you hear that bit?
Sorry, what?
Early 40s. Early
Amazing.
40s. Well, anyway, it goes on a little bit, but yeah, there we go. The early 40s. I mean, I'm not too far away from that. I mean, Sean... Yeah.
30s, you know.
Yeah, James is the only one that's in his 40s, right?
Yep.
Yeah, late 40s.
Early 40s. How dare you?
Mid to late
James
40s.
does bring the average up being aged 67, but, you know.
Thanks for the shout out. We always like to hear people talking about our podcast on there, yeah, appreciate y'all.
David doesn't run
right.
it. All right.
Well, should we go on to the next message?
Yes. David Ricardo, I know James is not easily phased, but flippantly dismissing a story about haunted Mario toy, I feel sorry for any ghosts in the Farley Castle when they're sternly told off for making silly noises. Really big bollocks indeed.
James,
how are you with silly
response?
noises, James? I assume you're like someone to stamp out immediately.
What do you mean? What? Stupid noises?
You know, like, at home when, one of the kids says fart and everyone laughs, or, that you... Do you do any...
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
Just shut up.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. Yeah.
Well, like, what do you do? What's your response? What's your go-to response? Mine's laughing, always, but what's yours?
It's like, oh, come on. You're better than that. You know?
Of course it is. Go on.
Very poor comedy. We should work on that.
Yeah, exactly. They can definitely do something more interesting than that, yeah.
Okay, we'll move on. Miller, dear Dr. Farley, on your recommendation for a good game, I downloaded Days Gone from PlayStation Plus. I'm enjoying it. However, in the first few minutes, it tasks me with crafting healing bandages amongst other items. So, do you like crafting games? I'm very confused.
I love them. Absolutely love them. Especially when they're paired with deck building and roguelike mechanics. It's
But this is the thing, James. Can you name one game where that is actually a thing?
They're developing it, Sean. It's definitely happening. Come on, it's definitely
It's just
happening.
like you've invaded
this
this
case.
game that you hate, and it's not real.
We'll be one of those indie showcases, and there'll be about 15 of them. You'll see. That's
Not
what's
with
going to happen.
all of those elements.
Yeah, they will. It's definitely going to happen.
But hang on,
Okay.
how's
Well,
there
if you
not
can
been
name one of
that
them,
sounds like
that'd
And
be great.
Sean, you're
billions
giving
left
in
on the
there.
table.
you're giving in there, Sean, because you know that I'm right, and that will happen. There's
I'm not giving in at all. I'm saying name one.
No, yeah,
it's definitely going to happen.
It's the opposite of that. No, it's the opposite of that, James. You're giving in. Sean said name one, and you've gone, nah.
No, I said it will happen. You'll see. Idea Xbox. Okay. Idea Xbox, there'll be some 6-hour Idea Xbox where there'll be about 15 of them. You'll see.
Okay.
Well, okay. All right.
Okay, so the last one here. This one is titled "Take a Wild Guess Which Listener This Is," and the message is: "I put a tampon soaked in vodka up my bum for a $5." Now, thanks for the email, Chris O'Regan, but we are going to move on to news now.
Nice one, Garrity. Nice to hear from you. It's been a while.
If you want to leave us feedback, go to tcgs.co/deartcgs.
Right, should we get on to the news? James Farley, your time to shine.
Yeah, we've got some news. So, first of all, CD Projekt Red has issued around 30,000 refunds for Cyberpunk 2077, and it's cost them 2.23...
It's not that much for a game that sold millions and millions, is it?
Well, that's the thing. It's, apparently, it's cost them 2.23 million in this Help Me Refund program, right? But then, according to their latest financial report, the projected costs of all the refunds are 51.2 million. So there's this weird sort of difference between this.
No, it's not weird, is it?
No, because it's broken down.
The refund thing is if you go directly to them.
Yeah, I mean, do you want to hear the breakdown or not? Yeah. It's, I mean,
yes, you've got.
So this is the breakdown.
Yeah,
so you've got 2.23 million for.
Right,
break it down.
You got 2.2. You got 2.23 million for the Help Me refund. So through that, you got 10.65 million for refunds made directly to retailers in 2020, and then a further 38.34 million for projected refunds and lost sales, mostly because it not being on PSN anymore. Yeah. So there you go. But as it says here, this 51.2 million is still a fraction of the 563 million of net sales that they've made. So it's still done very well. Even though they've had to sell back.
It has done. I'm looking forward to playing it when it's working and actually built for the machine that I bought for it. You know what I mean? So, I'll get round to it at some point. What a weird situation that game's in.
I bought it because I think I obviously want to see what the hype's about. This is before it came out. I haven't not massively got into The Witch. I played a bit. I enjoyed what I played and stopped. But I thought, I wanted to play this, want to see what it's about. And I was getting quite excited in the lead up to launch. And then this happened. I got a refund on my Xbox version. I don't know. I don't know if there is anything even now making me think, when the PS5 or Xbox version's out, maybe I'll definitely jump in.
Of course there is. Of course there is. That's not for you, Matt. That's not for you. You'd never go back to a game like that. You scrapped it off your list at the end of the year.
Not going back. I just.
So I can't see you ever playing that game.
If they did a glitzy relaunch, I think Matt would. I think if they did that, but otherwise,
how glitzy?
I mean, maybe, but as I say, it's like I've got issues with the content. Never mind the bugs. So I'm like, as the one person who's played the most of it, I'm not going to be like, oh man, yeah, when it's all fixed, you should definitely check it out.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be it for me. I'll give it a go. I mean, I barely scratched the surface with it. I did I was still well within the tutorial bits.
Yeah,
I got out of the nightclub.
They're the best bits. When they said everything we've shown you so far has just been from the first chapter of the game. It's because it's the best bit.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, I'm interested to see how much work they actually put into this thing.
Mm-hmm.
But okay.
Okay, next, PlayStation have signed a new multiplayer game from former Destiny veterans. So this is from Firewalk, which is a new development team that is part of Probably Monsters. And this team is made up of former Bungie people, and also people from Activision as well, and some other studios. And there's no details really about it, just that it's an original game and it's going to be exclusive on console to PlayStation to begin with.
Could be interesting. I do hope it's not like Destiny. Do you know what I mean? I'm kind of there's so many of those now, really. Aren't there?
we don't need another one of those.
I don't need to see purple and yellow drops and shit. I don't need any of that no more. So hopefully it's something a little bit more original.
That's just the language of any loot stuff now. Like in any game where loot is Yeah,
but that's it. I don't want to loot based shooter anymore. I don't think not in the same vein.
I don't think they will. They wouldn't be that stupid, would they? Because loads of companies have tried to do this and just failed.
Well, exactly. They all think. Hang on, didn't know our idea is better, so I think ours will succeed. So we had like Disintegration. That was also ex-Bungie devs.
God, yeah. What happened to that?
But I'm kind of it's the intimidation aspect for me.
That was kind of RTS as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a unique.
It's the intimidation aspect for me because the thought of playing a game that you're going to get into for hundreds of hours, it does make you kind of go, "Do I need this in my life? Do I need it in my life?" I mean,
like God, sorry.
We are all in our 40s though, so this game isn't really
late 40s.
Aimed at us.
I'm a nerd.
I love Destiny 2. Like Destiny 2 is wicked, and I have not played it in months because I just haven't had time for a game like that. Since I got
Sea of Thieves.
I was going to say because I got into playing Sea of Thieves with friends, so that was it. No room for Destiny 2. Done.
Yeah,
and it's not the game's fault.
One at a time.
It's just one in, one out.
Also, to be fair to Sean, there, Sea of Thieves is less. Sorry, just to be fair to Sean there, Sea of Thieves is way less demanding than something like Destiny. Because it doesn't feel like if you step off for a bit that you're lagging behind everyone else.
Exactly, and that's why it's been so good to play with friends, because it doesn't really matter where people are up to.
Yeah.
It's a shame though, Sean, because I want to hear about this transmog palaver that's happened.
Oh yeah, they've tried to make the weapon shader system better or something. Sorry, the weapon and armor shader system better, and they've made it worse. Everyone hates it.
Whoa!
What?
Someone from the Destiny team is trying to change that, and everyone's gone mental. Is that? It doesn't count as news anymore, does it? I mean, that's happened since day one.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. Constant. No, I don't know any more than that. Other than people are kicking off. But
it's not in the news either, so no one's going to find out.
Good.
Well, no, hang on.
James did ask. James asked. We agreed by committee not to include that news story. So
we did. Okay, let's move on to the next one then.
Okay, so also Sony are going to be rolling, for the moment just in Poland, but they're rolling movies and TV shows into PlayStation Plus. This is the idea. So, yeah. This is what this will be, is that PlayStation Plus subscribers will gain access to a new PlayStation Plus video app where there'll be videos and films and TV shows and stuff that will change every quarter apparently. And there's do you want to?
Strange, man.
I find it weird. I don't know why they think this is a good idea.
Strange. And I'll tell you
why is it a bad idea?
Because who's going to? I don't think it's a bad idea, right? I know James is about to kick off about it. I don't think it's a bad idea. I find it weird that they focused on PS Plus rather than focusing on, say, PS Now or a revamped version, something to challenge Game Pass.
Exactly.
Because why do you buy when you buy a PlayStation? Why do you buy PS Plus? You don't buy it for the monthly games, do you? You don't. You buy it to play online. It's kind of a necessity to play online and get all the online features, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're using this as an incentive to buy into a service, why would that be PS Plus rather than a game like, say, PS Now? It doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, you say that, David, but when I got PS Plus, I really wanted to watch Jumanji: The Next Level. So,
or Sausage Party. You could watch Sausage Party.
Be fair, there's some really good films in here, but I've got other ways of watching all of them.
Exactly. That's the point. And it's mind you, they have got Zombieland 2 Double Tap.
I'm really glad you brought it up, James. It's a great movie, and if anyone wants more Zombieland, there's a great game out now on Quest. Zombieland Hedgehog Fever.
Let's stop that. It's absolutely disgraceful, Matthew.
He's just giving his honest opinion, Dave. What's your problem?
I saw this and thought, that is weird, but and most of these I've seen or don't want to see, but why not? It's a little, it's some extra content for free. Yes, it's weird. Yes. Obviously, we would maybe prefer a revamped PS Now or proper Game Pass competitor, but hey, they're giving us some free stuff. Some people might think, this is great, I've got these movies to watch. It's weird, that's why it's only being trialled in Poland, but
Yeah,
it just seems pointless to me. I don't know why they're doing this. I mean, I understand why they're doing this because it's an extra value add or
it's
whatever.
An extra benefit, it's an extra perk. Isn't it?
Who cares?
I'd be interested.
Exactly. Which is to put that into the PS Now stuff. Like, if they were to come out and say we're revamping our Game Pass competitor, here are the games that's included. They're of a higher quality. You only have to wait a year or so for first-party stuff to get in there. All right, that's not competing with what Microsoft are doing with their stuff, but we will have indie games launching straight to our service. And also on top of that, you'll get a pass to our music and TV and film stuff. That makes more sense to me. But saying we'll just give it to the people that have PS Plus just doesn't. It weirds me out. I don't get what they're going for.
See, also the other thing is they bought Crunchyroll, and they bought all these other things like that. I don't know why they're not saying why don't we just add that in or something like that, because that would be massive if they did that. It really would.
But this is just a trial at the moment. That's why it's only in Poland. This isn't like a global launch. They're probably saying, what's the uptake? Is it worth it? What was the vibe from people just hearing about this, given it's only Poland? And no users as learning.
And I think what I'm saying is that how can anyone look at that and think that that's going to lead to an uptake in PS Plus subscriptions?
Yeah, it's absolutely not going to. It's just.
I mean, and obviously it's interesting in light of it was only a couple of months ago that Microsoft announced they were going to start taking out music and film stuff from the Xbox store, right? Mm-hmm. And it's just interesting, are they looking at the same... obviously, they've got data, right, on how many people who use the console are actually interested in stuff and are engaging with it on a regular basis. But is there a difference between your typical Microsoft and Sony person? Because the PlayStation does have a bit more of a legacy of, the PS2 and the PS3 were very much holy shit, it's a DVD player, holy shit, it's a Blu-ray player. Is there a difference in the sort of core
because there's different expectations
user?
Of what they expect from what they get from the service.
Also,
possibly
it is somewhere that Sony could, in theory, have a leg up actually, because the fact that they own all these studios, they've they've got all this stuff. Exactly. They could roll in, but it depends whether they do or not. Anyway, next story is that Microsoft have finally ditched the Xbox Live Gold requirement for free-to-play multiplayer games. So that's gone, apparently as of 21st of April, so that was last week. So now you can play any of the free-to-play multiplayer games you can play on the console without having to have Xbox Live Gold. But if you buy a game and you want to play multiplayer, you still have to pay. So, yeah.
Makes sense.
Is odd, but
Yeah, I said that at the time. It's a strange feeling to be celebrating this when they're saying... Free games, use the Xbox Live stuff. You bought that game, right? You have to pay extra to play that online. It's a weird thing that people are celebrating.
I know what you mean. It's like when you...
That's where we're at.
Yeah, you bother to buy a film on Blu-ray instead of just streaming it, and then there's fucking adverts at the start, and you're like, I paid to not have to do this. But,
It's worse tough on the Blu-rays as well, because we can very rarely have a 5-second skip button. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's just interesting. Obviously, it must just be that important with free-to-play games that there's just that total lack of friction, right? There's nothing popping up saying, sorry, you need to cough up for this first. It's all about that onboarding,
Yeah, it feels like it's more for the developers than it is the consumers, isn't it? Because they just want essentially a free-to-play game is a store, an open is their store. They want to get a gamer addicted to their game and then not force them, but entice them to spend money on it. And that's an extra layer, extra hurdle for them to get over. Removing that helps them out. Doesn't really make a difference to us, does it?
Is there also a weird potential legal issue with calling them free to play when there is clearly a charge involved?
Possibly, yeah. Sure.
Okay, next story is that Epic Games Store have added the Itch.io app to it, and this is because they're adding more third-party apps to it, including that. But then they're not taking a cut of any of the revenue generated through it either, and which is strange because they usually take 12% of any revenue through games that are sold through the store. But it's just on there. I mean, Sean, you told us about this, and I asked you, are people angry about this? Are they?
I don't know. I've not seen any chat about it. I think it's just a weird.
Is it because
decision?
Is it Itch.io then?
I'm
Is that what
assuming it
people
is,
call
yeah.
it?
Itch.io.
You see,
I've always called it
itch.io,
itch.io.
but then people seem to call it itch.io. I'm going to stick with itch.io. Fuck it.
It's itchy.
Okay, you do what you want, mate. You go for it. You fly that flag, lid. I'm all for it. But is it because the itch.io store is pretty horrendous to use? Because I mean, I'll hold my hands up. I've only used it for that bundle that came out with like 1,000 games on it, but my word, was that a pain in the ass to sift through.
Yeah, I mean, I think arguably not representative, but yeah, it's not amazing. But I mean, like personally, I'm just like, well, why would I navigate via the Epic store to get to the itch.io store if the itch.io store is already a bit of a nuisance? How does adding it to another store that I already would rather not have to use
because surely it's just the fact that you can have all your itch.io games in a much better UI than the itch.io store. So, and if people who are fully in on Epic Games store, I mean, I've probably got more games in my Epic Games account now with all the freebies every month than I have in my Steam library, even though I've been buying PC games on offer for years. So maybe people think, well, if I get itch.io, I can just add them to my already massive Epic Games Store library.
I mean, yeah, if it allows you to navigate the games via the Epic library, then that's quite good, I guess. And but then, there will definitely be people who don't appreciate Epic even getting involved, even if there's no, like revenue take or anything, because potentially there could be in future. Just because the terms are what they are today doesn't mean they won't change in future.
Is this like when Game moved into Sports Directs? You know what I mean? It's like I already hate going to Game, and now I've got to try and get through all these tracksuits and the bags for life trainers that they've got on there. Yeah,
I hated the Game UI. Now I've got to use the Game UI with massive non-stale outfits everywhere.
It's just like, did you see? This wasn't worth its own news story, but. Or maybe it was, I don't know. So IGN Entertainment bought, humblebundle.com. And I think it was today or yesterday, they announced that. So previously, you could set your slider. So if you pledged towards a bundle, you could choose how much went to charity, how much went to developers, how much went to Humble. Right. And it used to be, if you wanted to, you could set charity to whatever percentage you want. You could do 100%. They're now limiting it to 15.
Ooh. Oh, yeah. Jesus Christ. That's
only 15 to charity.
Yep. So it's just like, again, they bought it and it's like, okay, well, nothing seems to have changed. And then it did. So these things happen.
Wow. So you want to give 85% to IGN? No. 85% to IGN? Okay. No, I didn't want that.
Listen, Screb's got to get paid. Know what I mean?
That's true. I reckon he personally made the decision. He's like that.
I authorise this. Massive Joe Scrabble's stamp.
Oh, good. All the food's in for the children. Well, actually, it's 15% of what we gave you last time.
Count yourself lucky. It was going to be 10. It's
God.
There's just a quick plug. There was a very good recent episode of the GamesIndustry.biz podcast talking about all the Epic stuff. It was really interesting. I know, James, you're a fan as well, aren't you?
Yeah, it's a good show. I like it. Okay.
Not for me, I like it.
So, finally, the great Ace Attorney Chronicles have been confirmed for the West. So, this is... Okay, I'm very excited about this.
That's what I think we did game announcements in this section.
So these are ones that previously haven't come out here, right? That's the...
Yes, these have never come out in the West, and yeah, we don't generally do these unless they're games that I care about. So that's
interesting.
I looked down at the news story, and it is called The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. I just assumed that James was editorialising.
No.
It's called The Ace Attorney Chronicles.
The really good video game Ace Attorney.
So it's coming out on the 27th of July on Switch, PlayStation 4 and PC from Steam.
Cool.
And this was what was part of the leak, from the Capcom data breach in November last year, and it was rumoured that it was going to happen. And it is. And so these are like period spin-off games, and it involves Herlock Sholmes. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this, because these have never come out. And so it's going to be exciting to play them, I think. It's going to be good.
I'm pleased for you.
Cool.
I've got another game announcement. Knockout City will launch with Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and EA Play on May the 21st. So,
I mean, it's a step in the right direction. I mean, I spoke about this game a few weeks ago, and I absolutely loved the beta. I really did think it was
I love the
good
beta.
fun and has potential, but I also worried about its future. I mean, if they tried to sell that outright, feels like it should be a free-to-play game, but it's not. And this is a step in the right direction. I think more people are more willing to. Well, they're going to be more willing to try it out now that it's on Game Pass. So I'm looking forward to playing that game again. Seriously, give it a go. If you've got Game Pass, then don't write it off.
Well, no. If you've got Game Pass Ultimate.
Okay, well, if you've got Game Pass Ultimate, give it a go, because I think you'd like it.
I wonder
Who
how many
hasn't
people have been
got
caught
Game
out.
Pass
Like, I've got
Ultimate?
Game Pass. Oh, no, wait. I haven't got the Game
Not
Pass.
you. Yeah. There are levels, son.
Yeah. But I'm pleased because I was, obviously from what you'd said, I was like really curious, but yeah, would not have spent 30 quid on it. But which isn't to say it's not worth that, just that it seemed like a bit of a gamble. So yeah, I'm pleased that this means presumably people are going to check it out.
See, I was dismissive of this, but I will try it if it doesn't cost me any money, and maybe it's good.
I love how much you support the industry. Right, let's move.
That's it. That's the last news story. There's nothing else.
Blimey.
Cool. Should we get on to what you've been playing? Shall I start?
Yeah, go on. You've had a week off.
Because I've got a few short ones. I'd like to start by saying, you know how, James, you play a game and then you can't stop until they're fully 100%ed?
Yeah, for some games, not all games, but quite a lot. Yeah.
I think I confirmed to myself that I haven't got that issue. Because you know how I went on some mad tear with Spiderman, where I 100% Miles Morales, which was weird for me in the first place. But then I bought the remaster, a game that I'd already played and completed, and then just sat and played through the whole thing again. The idea was that I was going to 100% that, then 100% all the DLC, and then, consider what I'm doing with the rest of my life. I got to the point where I'd 100%ed the main game, so I'd done everything, all the challenges, everything, and then moved on to the first DLC and was like, I'll give this a go. And I was like, it's not very good, but I'll 100% it anyway. I got halfway through the second DLC and said, okay, I'm done. So I'm literally one and a half DLC left to 100%, and then I'd have done everything. And I got halfway. With the DLC in that game is terrible. I heard a lot of people around the time saying, it's good. It's not great, but it's terrible. It's terrible, especially the second one. It's just awful. The screwball character. Is the screwball character like a thing in Spider-Man before this?
I don't know.
I don't know who that is.
The screwball character is a YouTuber that you have to. She said she tasks around the city. Yeah, it said she tasks around the city where you have to sort of do stuff, and she films it, and then she gets hits off what you're doing. But it's all like, I've set bombs everywhere, and you have to go and defuse them and stuff. Like, awful character, awful challenges, and they get even worse in the DLC. So
in the
I was
DLC,
like, no,
are there any extra like Taskmaster stuff?
Oh no! Well,
Okay,
yes,
cool.
yeah.
There's Taskmaster
there's
from
loads
the
of
main
stuff.
game.
You like that stuff?
Yeah, I like that stuff. Yeah.
I thought it was the weakest stuff, man. I hated it. What, the following the drones and picking the drones up and stuff?
Yeah. I've all the Taskmaster.
Do you remember
things
it?
were cool. I also liked the bits where you would have to like look around for whatever that cat character was.
Yeah, it's Black Cat stuff. Yeah,
that was
also
okay.
good.
But I said they just made that way too. If you're going to do that, make it a Where's Wally. Don't then make the thing that you're looking for flash and the pad rumble when you're nearby. So what's the point then?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm done with Spider-Man. But ultimately, like, I've had a really good time with it again, so totally fine with that. I mean, it looks absolutely incredible in places, especially when you're using the cartoon suit. You know what I mean? The contrast
suit.
between that. Yeah, no, not the Spider-Verse suit. The actual. This was from the original remaster.
Oh, okay, right.
The original game that was remastered. So yeah, you've got all the sort of crazy lighting effects and everything, but then you've also got this like really flat character that you're controlling, and the contrast just looks incredible at times. So, I mean, definitely worth picking up, especially if you haven't played it before and you've got a PS5. Get Miles Morales and then upgrade it to the remaster and play through both, because they're great. But yeah, I mean, it got to the point where I was so numb playing those games. Like, I just thought, is this terrible? This is terrible, isn't it? I mean, I've snapped out of my sort of weird phase while playing this game to recognise that actually what I'm doing is terrible. So that's it. I'm done with that. That's behind me. I'm done. I've drawn a line underneath it. A couple of games that we've mentioned previously that I should... Well, no, actually, this one game we've mentioned previously. Say No More. Sure.
Oh, yeah.
After the podcast where you mentioned it, I went and downloaded it. And, I mean, it's all right. It's not great, is it? 13 quid, Sean. That's a bit of a push, isn't it?
Do you reckon? I properly enjoyed it. It definitely, like, they could have done more, like, with it, you know, mechanically and stuff. I just thought it was funny.
Yeah, it was funny, but I felt like the gag had kind of gone by maybe chapter 2, and then the rest of it, I was like, okay, this is okay, but you know, it's not something that I would recommend people play. More that I'll show them 5 minutes of, they'll laugh, and then the laughter just slowly dips down, and I go, okay, you're done with it. You don't need to see the rest of the game. It's totally fine. So,
would you see? I thought the way it was discount. Oh, go on, sorry.
If it was discounted, would you recommend it? Like, if it was much cheaper?
If it's five quid, have a go. But I think you'd hate it, James. Genuinely, I think you would hate that game. It's because there's no gameplay at all. You press a button, that's it.
And it's
maybe
somewhat
you switch
whimsical.
the style of laugh. Yes, it's a comedy thing. It's not a game at all, really. So yeah, I'm not so sure you'd be on board with it, but I know it made the kids laugh, so that's something. I'm
just young at heart. Do you know what I mean? It's because I'm the youngest guy here, so I can still find these things funny, you know.
Yeah. So. This was a recommendation from a listener, but Rain on Your Parade. I've been playing that. That's on Game Pass. I'd say that's worth a go. You've been playing this, Matt, have you?
Yeah, I mean, this thing it's blown up, and I mean, like the dev said, it's had over 150,000 sort of downloads, and that was before the weekend, and everyone's just gone to download it, thinking it's a bit of like a, it's a fun game. God, I've just blanked on what's that fucking Goose game? Oh, was it
Untitled
Goose Game?
Yeah, no, you can't compare it.
No, but I think a lot of people think, it's one of them.
Yeah, it's not.
When I watched the trailer, and I mean, the trailer was giving off very similar vibes, like with the list of things to tick off and that kind of stuff.
It's just about going around being a dickhead, sort of.
Yeah, but now you're a dickhead cloud.
It's not that. Yeah. It's not that at all. It's more like Donut County. Think Donut County rather than because that's all you're doing is that you've got your tasks. You know what you're supposed to do, and they're not too difficult. There's a few puzzles here and there, but it's very, very basic. You're not going around screwing, like mucking about with people and trying to wind them up. It doesn't go that deep with it. It's literally, so I should explain. So you play as a rain cloud, and there are various different like scenes that you go into, and you start raining on people. There's some funny stuff in there, but ultimately it really is like sort of, okay, here's a task to set fire to everything. And if you're the rain cloud, you can soak up some oil at some point and then rain that. Visually, it looks quite good because it's you're like this cardboard cutout rain cloud on these like strings hanging over this sort of really basic looking 3D environment. And yeah, I mean, it's okay. It's quite fun, but nothing special, you know.
Do you know what, really? But I've only played a little bit of this, which is why I didn't put it on my list, but the thing that annoyed me is that in the writing, it refers to people as humans.
Yeah, there's stuff like that. Yeah, that's fine. I haven't got a problem with that. But there is some good stuff in there, though, Sean. There's definitely like some references to. There's a level reference to a famous TV show, so it's worth sticking through until you get to that because that's quite well done. There's also, I do like this, right? There's a character in it that goes, "Hello, my only purpose here is to say that if you find a bug, can you let the devs know here?" That's it. That's my existence in this game. Just to let you know that the devs want to know.
The fact is like, and if you do this, you unlock. Here's photo mode. You can press a button when you want it. I quite like that. It's kind of new face.
It's a 6 out of 10 maybe, but it is very much Donut County more than the Untitled Goose Game for sure. There's just a lot.
This
more
is on
care
Game Pass though, yeah.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, it's on there. I mean,
it's simpler than Donut County. I mean, Donut County is not difficult, but there are like puzzles in Donut County. There are like doing this order. This is like just rain on everything, you know.
No, it's not though, is it? How far into it did you get?
I've only done we did 3 levels.
Yeah, no, you need to play more because it does get way more complicated than you'd imagine.
Oh, cool. Well, it's fun. I play with Elodie. Yeah, she was laughing her head off, you know, just raining on everyone at the wedding and so on and so forth.
I did enjoy that that's where it starts. Yeah, fuck it, wedding.
Yes, yeah.
Get fucking rained on.
Yeah, of course it does.
The one event no one wants rain to happen.
I'm not done with it. I'm still going to play more of it because the kids like watching it. But if you're going into it thinking Untitled Goose Game, then you're going to be bitterly disappointed. But the game that I have been playing, another Game Pass game that has completely blown me away, and I cannot believe I haven't started playing it until now, Wreckfest. Now, you spoke about this not too long ago, right, Sean?
Briefly, yeah. I hadn't really played enough of it to
I should get round to playing it, or...
I'd played a bit of it.
It's so good.
I think we talked about it because Sean played it a while ago and enjoyed it, and then I know James and I played Destruction All Stars, and I'm like, I really want a Destruction Derby kind of game, and then this game I think it might have got an update or something around that time. I was like, I've downloaded Wreckfest, and then in typical fashion, I never actually got around to playing it.
I think it launched on Game Pass around that time, didn't it? Because it didn't it only just recently came to Game Pass, didn't it?
Yeah,
I think it came out on consoles first, as a regular launch, and then came to Game Pass, and then most recently it's had
because it's been around since 2018, hasn't it? It was a Kickstarter project initially. It's just really, really good fun. I mean, I've not got to the point where I'm taking it as a serious racer yet. Like, I haven't got into tuning the settings and tinkering with my cars and stuff. I'm literally going through the events. But some of the event ideas are great. Like, the one that I really enjoyed was you're in a freewheeler car, you know, Del Boy style, and you're racing against 23 buses. And obviously, you're trying to weave in and out of these buses, and because the moment you get touched, you just like fly off. And obviously, it opens famously. We mentioned it on the show before. It opens with a lawnmower destruction derby where everyone's on these lawnmowers, and the first time you crash into someone, you watch the driver fly off into the distance. It's hilarious. But even then, so I was talking to Harry while I was playing it, and I was like, I really hope there's a figure 8, because I used to go to Destruction Derby stuff as a kid because there was one in Wimbledon, and which is not too far from me, and it was something to do on a Saturday night, and the banger racing there was great, and they used to do figure of 8 racing, and that's obviously where it's just a figure of 8, but obviously the people that lag behind, and then they're crossing paths with the people that are in first and second place or whatever. And I really hope that's got this. It feels like it should have, because it's got so many different tracks and ideas and all this sort of stuff.
I'm sure I've done a
it did.
figure.
So I backed out of it and then went into a custom race, found a figure of 8 course, set it with the maximum amount of racers, and did like 10 laps of it. And it was just so much fun. You know what I mean? It just really good fun watching the cars. I mean, it looks okay, passable, nothing special, but it looks good enough. The destruction of the cars is great. There's been a few minor moments of slowdown, and then as I progressed through the events, there are events where there's like essentially a roundabout each end of one stretch of road, which means exactly the same sort of concept. You go around the roundabout and then all of a sudden you're driving along oncoming traffic. All that sort of stuff. I've really, really, really been enjoying it. So if you've not tried it yet, definitely give it a go on Game Pass, because I was really surprised by how well, like how good it felt to play, and B, how much fun it was. You know what I mean? It had that. I play most racing games, and I think ultimately I'd rather play Forza Horizon. But obviously, this is so different from Forza Horizon, while still being a similar sort of half arcadey, half racy sort of game. That this filled a perfect sort of gap. So yeah, can't recommend it enough. I should have played this earlier, I think, because I've been absolutely loving it the past week.
No, I'll definitely go back to it because I mean, A, it's very good, and B, Isaac loves watching it as well.
Okay, Sean, go to a custom game mode. most amount of races you can on a figure of 8, 10 calls, 10 laps or whatever, and sit Isaac in front of it, and you'll both be cracking up. It's great.
Cool.
Really, really enjoy that game. The Destruction Derby stuff is crap, but then Destruction Derby stuff is always crap in these games if you just don't care about it as a actual game that you're competing in. Because that's it. I'm never playing it as if I'm like, I need to be first place, I need to be the last man standing in Destruction Derby, because it feels like the way it calculates who's doing damage to who is just kind of a bit random.
Yeah.
But if you ignore all that stuff, you can just really get into it for the mindless fun that it can be. So yeah, highly recommended. 2 Game Pass games there that I reckon you should check out.
I think I might still have it downloaded, but who knows if I'll get to
Give it a go, Matt. It'd be great if we could get a multiplayer going. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it has, yeah. Okay, yeah, if we could get like a multiplayer game going, that'd be quite fun.
Yeah,
cool.
Right, okay. That's me. Let's get on to James.
Yeah, I mean, I've played 2 things this week, which I've talked about before, but one of them I finished now, which was Super Mario 3D World, and I feel really excited about playing this game still. This is what was crazy, because I went through a weird journey with it, because I was at the point where I was kind of finished with it. I thought, I can't be bothered with this anymore. I'm just not enjoying it. I'm done. And then I went back and I did push my way through it, and I managed to finish the whole thing. And I felt such a sense of achievement from doing it, and it was brilliant. I just felt so good from finishing it. Just like, I think it's mostly because the last level of the game, like the Champions Road, you've done it, haven't you, Dave, as well?
Not the Champions Road, no.
Yeah.
No. I got to the sort of special stages about halfway through the special world, and then stopped playing it. And this one, I've got to World 6, but haven't continued. I need to go back to it.
You really should, because it's brilliant. It's so good. But it's one of those ones where, like the Champions Road, I was frustrated with initially, but then you begin to realise that it's just about learning the level, like about learning like the correct way to do each of the sort of the sections of it, because it's really split up into about sort of 3 or 4 sections. And there was one part where I was just like, I can't do this, but then I just felt like if I can get through this bit and I learn how to do it, and I've done it, then I can nail this level. It won't be a problem, the rest of it. It's just this bit. And then eventually I did it, and then I did it like, a couple of times in a row, because you have to do it for each of the characters. And it just feels so good when you suddenly master it, and then you just suddenly feel, actually, that level's not hard at all. Like, I understand completely how it works, and it's really not that difficult. And I just...
It's the 500 Moon Challenge, isn't it? Like, the first time you try that, it seems impossible, and then when you nail it, you feel like you could do it every time.
And I love the way that it's really hard to get through, and I think it would be very difficult to do it by luck. Like, you absolutely have to have like mastered it, otherwise there's no way you're going to get through it. And that's what I love to it. I mean, this is a weird comparison, but it reminds me of Dark Souls in that way. That sort of like that idea that you're learning it, and then you sort of make a breakthrough, and then you just feel such a sense of achievement for it. And that's why I really love playing this. And I don't regret going back at all, because, as I said, I was getting frustrated with it. I'd nearly had enough, and I just thought, I can't be bothered, this is ridiculous. But then I forced myself to go back, and I ended up enjoying it for that, and that's what was great about it. And I still feel it's one of the best in the series for me of 3D, like Mario games, 3D World. I still think it's amazing. It's so good. But it becomes better and better once you start to sort of really like master the tricky stuff towards the end. That's what the game's about for me, is the end game. Because the earlier stuff it's fun to play through with other people, but it's quite easy as well. But later on, so good.
Did you find a problem with the speed increase on the later levels?
No, it was fine actually. Although that was one of the things that was difficult on the Champions Road, and where there was a lot of shouting, I've got to admit, like at certain points, because in the last section of the Champions Road, you have to do this thing. You know those surfaces where if you land on them, it like catapults you off in one direction, like running like really fast, and you have to like do this like around this sort of like maze where you're like picking up like sort of keys to then like open a box. And it's ridiculous. It's really difficult. And there was a lot of screaming like a couple of times, because I was so close to finishing it a couple of times, and then I just didn't time my jumps properly, and it was very, very frustrating. But in general, the running is fine, and I think if I went back now to the Wii U version, it would feel not right. I think after this, like, you completely get used to it, and it's so good, It's such a good game. I would recommend it. Like, I mean, Matt, have you actually gone back to this at all? Like, have you played?
No, I haven't. No. I mean, I do want to because I was loving it, but I got up to like World 7, I think it was, and I was 100%ing it all. As in like pre-credits, whatever.
Yeah.
So no, it's there on my on my Switch still, but haven't really gone back to it.
It's very good
because I was loving it at the time.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to do what you're doing. I'm not going to like complete it 5 times, whatever you've done.
No, yeah, I wouldn't recommend that unless you're mad, because it's just it's a very strange thing to do, and it's also, I mean, it's the only way to like get all the stickers and stuff like that, and it does just feel a bit like vindictive and mean, really, to make people like play through it so many times. And although it is enjoyable, but it's if you've got like a thing about completing it, it is a bit of a pain. It's not good. I mean, Dave, what about you? Will you go back, do you think? And
100%, yeah. When I'm ready, I'll go back to it. When there's a bit of a lull and I fancy some Mario, then I know it's there.
Yeah.
Because I did really. Harry completed both, but he's like you. He's like, I want 100% them both. So he's working on what do you call it at the moment? Bowser's Fury, but I'm sure he'll. Well, I'm not sure he'll now 3D World because it's so hard, but he'll give it a bloody good go.
Yeah. Yeah, man, props for getting anywhere in it, because it's hard, but very good.
Yeah.
Anyway, the only other thing I've played is I've been sort of playing Yakuza Like a Dragon, and I'm kind of souring on it, to be honest, which I feel horrible about, because I love this series like so much. And the thing of it is the characters are fine. I'm enjoying that and the story mostly, but it's just the combat is just killing it for me, like absolutely killing it. And the trouble is the turn-based battles are so frequent, they're so repetitive, and I'm just not into it. And the thing is there was loads of random battles in the other games as well. Like, obviously, that was the way the system worked. You walk down the street and you get into a fight with somebody. But the difference was for me is that they were over quite quickly, and I always enjoyed the feeling of like smashing somebody's face into a wall, like the fact that you're doing this like yourself, with like with your own fists or whatever. Whereas with this, the temptation always is to just put it on auto battle, because otherwise you're sitting there fiddling through menus to decide what attacks you're going to do, and that gets pretty boring as well. So in the end, you just stick it on auto, and you're just sitting there watching the same stuff over and over again, like occasionally thinking, oh, maybe I'll get involved here by doing some commands or whatever, or doing like tinkering with the settings, but it's just not interesting enough to do that, and it's so frequent that it just makes it really annoying. I mean, I went into this. There was one. It's in chapter 5. There's towards the end. There's a dungeon. Well, not towards the end. It's the entire chapter is this dungeon, and it's the worst example of what I hate about JRPGs with that. Like the way that you've just got the same environment, you're going through it, it's constant, just random battles, which are clearly there just to sort of like grind your level up a bit, and you're just doing the same thing over and over again. The environments look the same, and it's just so boring. Like, it's just I don't know. What it is it's all the reasons I was worried about switching this to turn-based and it being a bad choice have come true so far. They're repetitive, like just the high frequency of them all the time. They're not very interesting. There's one thing that is missing, which I'm sure is probably going to be in this, because it is in most JRPGs that I've ever played. There's going to be a massive difficulty spike at some point soon. I'm sure that's going to happen in the story, which will then force you to then have to go back and do more grinding. And it's just, I don't know, it's just killing it. It's just really killing the game for me, because the side story stuff is still really good, still really enjoyable. I'm really, like, one of the things that's really good with this, this is one of the good things about it, is that you've got like the party system where you're walking around with this group of other people. As you're walking around, there's sometimes the conversations that you can have. That's pretty interesting, because that increases the bond between the two characters. But that can be annoying as well, because sometimes you're like having a conversation with somebody, and like it's going through this, like, these dialogues, and then these fuckers will just like walk, like these people that like the random battle people will just like walk in, like, in front of you or whatever, and then a random battle starts. You're like, hang on, what's happened to my conversation? Like, and then you finish the battle, and then like you can't get back into that conversation again. Like, until maybe like later on, it triggers it again. It's just stuff like that. It's just really annoying, like really irritating. The way it just breaks up the flow of things so much. And I think with the earlier games, when you were doing like random battles and stuff like that, it never felt to me like it mattered that much. That you were doing these. These were fun. Sort of. You could avoid them if you wanted to. You can avoid these as well. But I know that doing that will mean that you'll be underleveled, for like for the later stuff down the line. So it just really has put me off, like, in a big way. I mean, definitely I'll play through and I'll probably finish this, but I just really hope that they don't continue with these being turn-based in the future, because it just kills it for me. It's just not very enjoyable. And that's not to say that I don't enjoy turn-based games, because there are some that I have enjoyed, like Persona and stuff. But this one, it's just the way it's been implemented is the worst way it could be implemented. I just don't like it. Sorry.
Shame. It's such a wild change for a series to make. Like, it really is.
Yeah.
It's such a
But
bizarre...
it feels like it's just a side... It's not... this feels like it's just a side one. There'll be like,
I get
the Judgment series. There'll be.
I was going to say Judgment. I think is probably going to be the
maybe the idea
will be like
be
a Dragon series.
Yeah, maybe the idea would be that both systems are implemented in the next Yakuza game.
Maybe.
Like, so you can play it either as a turn-based or an action game.
That'd be so much work, though, wouldn't it?
But a lot of work. It
couldn't it be like Final Fantasy? Like, didn't they do that with the remake for that? Wasn't that kind of like a mixture of like you could choose?
Not really. True. I mean, you could choose, but the action mode still had. It wasn't turn-based, but it still had like menu picking and stuff like that. So,
I mean, like you mentioned,
you couldn't go full action.
Yeah, like you mentioned, difficulty spikes, James. Isn't the JRPG stuff in this is an homage specifically to Dragon Quest, isn't it? Is that right?
Which means there's definitely going to be different.
Yeah, because Dragon Quest is a fucker for that. So not only will it probably be in there, but it will definitely be in there on purpose.
Yeah.
Because they think, people actually like that stuff. But
I mean, there's rumours there's another Judgment coming, because there's like there's an event,
countdown
for it
soon or something. Yeah.
I mean, if that ends up being turn-based, I mean,
I think that they've just launched there's a next-gen version of Judgment, isn't there?
Yeah, it's coming forward.
I'm sort of tempted by that, because I got it really cheap on PS4 ages ago and then never got into it. Might be quite nice to play that on the Series S, but
it is excellent.
Does it come to Game Pass?
No, it's just been updated for the new consoles.
It will do eventually, because all the others are on there, I think, at the moment. So that probably will happen eventually.
I'm more likely to give that
at launch. But I mean, that's a good place to go, because you don't need to have any background with the series at all with that. You can
exactly
pop in.
Sure.
It's
Yeah, I can't see other titles becoming turn-based. I think this is just like, I think this series will keep it. I can't see Judgment suddenly going turn-based, and I can't see regular Yakuza games suddenly going turn-based.
I mean, who knows? We never thought there'd be a Yakuza turn-based game in the first place, and there is.
I just hate the way it gets in the way of the story for me. That's what I don't like about it. It's just, it really just feels like it's just getting in the way and just like ruining the pacing. It's it's the usual thing with these kind of games, where it just feels like it's artificially extending the length of the game, and I just hate that.
Yeah, that's what I felt about Yakuza games in general, though, and I think that's
much
because
worse.
I just for sure. But I just didn't like the action moments in those games, and they were just so frequent that I was just kind of like, I'm not even enjoying this. I'm not enjoying the fighting. So
try that, but with no. Try that with no interest in having any control over what's going on either. It's just insane.
Yeah. Okay, is that you, James?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Sorry about that. I know it's a big moan, but
But I don't know. Sorry, before Sean. But James, you do think you are going to still stay on and finish it?
Oh yeah, I will finish it, because I want to see where the story's going, and that's why I feel even more irritated. You see, because I like the story, I like that aspect, and I just feel like the combat is getting in the way, of the whole thing, which is irritating.
And we've had like loads of Yakuza games. I lost. I mean, up to six, and where does this? This is officially part of the canonical. It's part of the storyline, is it?
That's the thing, because Kiryu's story ended with 6, which came out before this one. This is supposed to be a break, in the sense that this is like supposed to be a new series. But then whether this is going to be a new series and continuing with turn-based or not, I don't know. Whether they're going to continue with that or not.
But if it's a new series, it's not like you have to keep going down this path and playing this game or these other games if it's not going to be along the central Yakuza storyline.
I mean, we've spent the past 3 weeks talking about how he obsessively has to complete games, Matt. I don't,
it's true.
There's no...
but like Matt's point is that, if it's just that this world is going to branch off into different series, like this can just be the one that you don't bother with. Like if there's going to be more Judgment and more Yakuza, then
he started it though. There's no way he's not.
I've started it, so I'll finish. It's
I've heard there's a lot of grinding in the end, James.
Yeah, brilliant.
Right, okay. Who do I say next? Sean.
Oh yeah.
Let's go.
So after James played it the other week, I've gone back to Huntdown on Switch. This is the sort of 2D run and gun shooter. It's fucking wicked, man.
It's good, isn't it?
It's so good.
I like the little clip you put out on there on Twitter.com.
That's just what it's like. It's just brilliant. It's just like we were saying. It's a run and gun shooter, but the fact that there are little sections where you're like, right, I do need to use a bit of cover. I need to think about where enemies are coming from, what weapons I'm using. Calling it tactical is probably a stretch because it's far too fast paced, but there's a lot of thought that goes into it. And it just feels brilliant. And I love the fact, I think I said this when I first talked about it, but it's like, obviously, it's very sort of late 80s, early 90s inspired in terms of the setting and the, general aesthetic, but it does have references to films and stuff, but does it in a way that it's not just like, have you seen RoboCop? Here's a line from RoboCop that you'll remember if you've seen RoboCop. Like it feels like it could have existed back in the day. Like it's its own thing, and while it does have references in, it's it's confident enough in itself that it's not just like, remember the 80s? They were good. No, they weren't. But properly enjoyed that. So I'm very near the end. I'm on the the fucking snake boss, James.
That was
fucking nightmare.
Horrible, that boss.
Yeah,
and it was really horrible. The patterns. It took me ages to try and figure out what the patterns were for that because it felt like it was kind of random. But then obviously it's not. Obviously,
that's
but
the thing, isn't it? Every boss you come to, you're just like, what the fuck is this? And then 2 or 3 attempts in, which are all just like instant restarts. Thank God. They're absolutely predictable. Every single one. It's just a case of observing. But other than that, a couple of quick goes on some Quest games because it's been a while. So I've been playing Traffic Jams. This was one I streamed. There was a demo of it a while ago.
That's right. I remember that.
Yeah, this is VR. Yeah. It's a VR game.
It is, yeah. So this is the one where, basically you're controlling like a traffic intersection, and there's pedestrians and cars, and you're pointing at people and either telling them to stop or waving them on. And it's cool because it doesn't really use any of the buttons. Like, it uses the controllers, but you literally just you'll just point with one hand at a car and then just do it either put your hand up like palm facing them to tell them to stop, or palm towards you and sort of you flip your hand towards you to say right, come forward, and that's it. But it's great. It's really good fun. I quite like it just because I'm weird for some reason. Like, cars are the one thing where I'm like, follow the fucking rules. Everyone, I'd love to be a fucking traffic cop. I really would.
Hold on, whoa, what? Follow the rules. Didn't you have to go on a speed awareness course, son?
I did, and I felt genuinely terrible about it.
Follow the rules.
That's the thing, Dave. I really enjoyed the speed awareness course. That's the worst part.
You teacher's pet in that. Oh, me.
Yeah, no, I know all the right answers. Yeah, it is interesting trying to figure out the speed limit in this photograph. That's right. It's the way it escalates. Like, I'm only 4 levels in, and how Overcooked did that really clever thing of it's always pretty hectic, but it was very careful that every level just added one new thing, one new twist. But then that sort of interacted with the previous things, and it's just this really steady escalation that meant it was always pretty chaotic, but never too chaotic. So you start off really simple T-junction. You got pedestrians, you got some cars, And like one of the roads is like one way, so that sort of makes things easier to sort of figure out in your head like where cars might be going or whatever. And like so you do that and it's fine. And then the next level is like a slightly more complicated junction, and some of the pedestrians are carrying giant like panes of glass across the road. And then there's buses and stuff which are larger and a bit slower. And then the next level is the first intersection again, so it's a simpler intersection, but it's at night time. There's way more people and zombies, which initially I was like, why have you done this? Like, why? But it means you essentially got pedestrians who have to get run over. Like, you're trying to get them knocked down by the cars. And it's like, fuck, that's great, because it just means every sort of 1 in 10 pedestrians, you're like, right, you stop there, just let that zombie walk onto the road. Right, boss, here you come, go. Just fucking knock the zombie down. And then it adds like wasps just start coming at you. So you'd be like, again, you're sort of directing traffic around, then just punch a fucking wasp.
Fighting around it.
Yeah. It's just proper good fun, really funny.
Mate, someone come up for you and ask for a high five. The moment you put a high five up, then you stop all the traffic in that direction.
That hasn't happened yet. But it wouldn't surprise me.
It should do.
So yeah, I'm definitely going to continue with that. Really enjoying it. I've also played a very little bit of The Climb 2. So I never played the first one, but I gather it was very good. And I've seen people saying like, this is like one of the games you should whip out to convince people that a Quest 2 is a good idea. It's a rock climbing simulator. But
sure.
Yep.
Can I ask you a question about this game just quickly?
Yes.
Is it terrifying when you fall? Because I've watched the trailers for this and it looks horrific.
Like, it's fucking horrible. It's absolutely terrifying. Like it starts you off like the tutorial is in. Do you remember when Mirror's Edge they did those like that DLC pack that was all like time trial stuff, and it was all just like abstract shapes in like a big white void, and it looked really cool. But basically, that's the tutorial, right? It's in an area like that, and it's all sort of totally abstract. And yet, every time you fuck up like a jump or whatever, it's like it's horrible. And you might sort of see videos of it and think, well, surely like you're not actually rock climbing, you're just waving your arms about. It's still quite tiring. But the skill is in like you have to sort of manage like how much chalk is on your hands, because that assists with your grip. And then you like if you're gripping handholds with both hands, then your stamina's fine, it like restores. But if you're just hanging with one, then the stamina on that hand starts to drain away. So you've got to make sure you get to the next one in time. And then so you do a tutorial and like, right, that wasn't too bad. Got my head around that. A couple of falls, but it was all right. And then you go to the Alps, and it's amazing. Like, it looks gorgeous. They've done a really good use of like with VR stuff. It's really obvious when like the surrounding area is just a skybox, like it's just an image basically. Like they've definitely done that, but it's just for whatever reason it's way more convincing. I remember like when I was playing Paper Beast, it was like really obvious where the 3D stuff ended and the skybox started. But this sort of gets away with it, and it's like visually really, really good. Because like we've said before, the Quest and the Quest 2 are like, because it's all in that headset, the games generally don't look, in terms of like fidelity, like not amazing. There's a lot of sort of people doing sort of clever sort of minimalist art styles and stuff, which totally works. But this is the first thing I've played where it's like, oh no, this actually looks like it could be on like a recent console, and it's really good, but very stressful, and makes me feel a bit sick. Just the threat of falling at any point is weird. There's a really cool mechanic, because I don't know if any of you have ever been rock climbing. I did a bit and was terrible at it, but the main thing you have to unlearn is like gripping really tightly all the time, because it's not necessary. And it just wears you out for no reason.
Well,
and
that's not what the guy at Centre Parks told me, Sean.
Is it not?
He said I was very good
Never
on
let
that
go, Matt. Never let go.
Hold it, grip it as tight as you can.
Yeah. Think of it as tight as you can, as if you would.
Got into the course.
Oh God. So basically, there's a mechanic whereby, if you can do like a perfect like half grip, so you're sort of gripping so it's all like the trigger button, obviously. If you can grip it at sort of a perfect sort of halfway point, then your stamina doesn't drain. But obviously,
it's just like real life.
Exactly. But obviously it's quite hard to do. But if you can master that, it gives you a lot more sort of leeway with like some of the sort of harder bits.
Best use of the PS5 controller, that is, and that's all I'm thinking of when he's saying that. Do you know this, Sean?
No, sorry, go on.
There's a rock climbing bit in one of the games where you feel the way the triggers work is that half of the trigger pull is fine. And then it sort of clicks into place for the rest of it. I think, like the GameCube controller.
Yeah.
But then there are sort of glass bits that you need to hold on to. And if you go past that point, that halfway point, then it smashes in your hand as you go, as you try and grab hold of it. And
cool.
That was a great use of the controller. Like, it made total sense. Especially when you're doing the races, the rock climbing races, where you've got to kind of force yourself to recognise that you're only pressing it halfway down for certain.
This is Astro, isn't it?
Yes, in Astro. Yeah.
And that's why I'm really excited for the PSVR 2 controller with like adaptive triggers and VR stuff. I think could be really cool.
That stuff could be really cool.
Yeah, because it's interesting. Like, obviously, like the hand tracking stuff on the Quest is amazing, but obviously there's never going to be any, I'm going to say tactility. Is that a word? Let's pretend it is.
That's a word.
Because obviously, you can, like, oh wow, that's my hand in virtual reality, but grabbing stuff is always going to feel weird because there is nothing there, and the controllers are good for sort of a, at least you're actually holding something that's a.
I think
always going to be a gun
like
or a sword.
Triggers and like haptic feedback is gonna do something. And there's companies now. There's one company called B Haptics who sell like a suit, which if you get shot, you can like feel it in certain areas.
Oh God, no! I've seen that. They sound terrifying. I think there's things
you put on your head as well, and also maybe your hands to like give you some feedback in that regard. So people are trying to develop some certain tools to give a bit more immersion in this sense as well.
So definitely going to play more of that, even though it's terrifying. I mean, I feel like I should stream this. I think it'd be quite funny, but don't know. We'll see.
You definitely should.
Do you feel sick when you actually? Does it ever have that feeling that you're moving the environment rather than yourself? Because that was the thing with the space station thing. That was the most sick I've felt in VR.
Which was the space station one?
So there's one released by NASA or developed by NASA.
Oh yeah.
Where you're in the sort of space station, and there's not much of a game to it. You just sort of float about and then grab hold of it. But whenever you grab hold of the environment, it feels like you're flicking the environment about rather than you're propelling yourself forward, and that makes you vom. Like
there's definitely
a good. It's probably like a good reflection on how you'd feel doing that. But at the same time, it was like, it's creepy. Oh, shut up, man.
There's definitely an element of that with this. Like, there's nothing to really stop you just like zooming around. Like, really, I'd be really interested to see if there's a speedrunning community around the Climb 2, because I think that'd be really funny to watch. But there's nothing to stop you just being like just constantly sort of, scrambling around the walls. And obviously, so that then you're sort of losing any sense of like your own weight. And obviously, you're literally just two hands, right? So it's not like you look down, it's like, right, that's what my legs are doing. Like, that's all. So that's kind of odd. But I think you're so focused on like what's right in front of you and your hands that it sort of more or less works. But yeah, cool. Enjoying it. But that's it from me.
Nice. Let's end with Matt Murray then. Well, you got four.
I haven't got much really. Last week I was talking about Fantasian as I did the week before, and I said I'm very close to the end now. I played about 16 hours. I finished it now, but it took me 29 hours. So turns out I was not near the end at all. But yeah, I absolutely love that game. But I was wondering about what other games to play afterwards, and some people on the Fantasian subreddit were suggesting, Final Fantasy 9 is a good other game, which is similar. Have you any of you guys, well, Sean, I guess mostly, have you played Final Fantasy 9?
I haven't, but I know people who absolutely swear by it as their favourite.
It is, yeah. It's the one that most people who are really into Final Fantasy seem to always say is one of the best.
Yeah, I was because it's on iOS, but it's like £21. I mean,
it's on Game Pass.
Feels like a lot for a phone game, but and also with things like Game Pass and Apple Arcade. But yeah, I'm
pretty sure it's not really a phone game, is it? Because it came out on original PlayStation. Do you know what I mean? It's like that's probably why it's so expensive. Because
Could you not just? Because I'm pretty sure it's on Game Pass. So could you not play that on? You can stream that to your phone.
I haven't looked into it, actually. I probably could. I haven't seen actually if that is elsewhere. But I was wondering if that would be a good next one to jump into. But Fantasian, I really liked it, and I'm really looking forward to Part 2, which is apparently coming later this year. And also, and all the stuff we've done in Part 1 moves over to Part 2. So because Part 1 ends, there's a cliffhanger. There's something major happens in the story, but I'm still midway through a mission. It doesn't there isn't in the mission select screen. It doesn't say you complete that mission and come back for Part 2. I'm midway through a mission and just nothing else to do. So that's rather weird. But
Matt,
I've just
Final Fantasy 9's on it's on Switch as well. You can get it for
is it on Switch?
£17, which is still quite a lot, but it's you can get it on there.
Matt.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Matt,
I might do that.
Final Fantasy 9
so, I'm looking for
on
to play another RPG to play after that because I really enjoyed it. Rainy of Parade we've talked about, and I've started playing Project Cars 2. Rather randomly, but so I'm going to now. Hannah, last time I accidentally mentioned the stag do on this podcast, I kind of ruined it for the stag about where the stag do is going to be. Now I know where this stag. Oh, no. It's basically I'm going to stag do, and we're doing a VR racing in Leeds. There's a place you can go where everyone's got Vive headsets or some VR headsets or high-powered PCs, and Project Cars 2 is basically what we were playing in VR. So as a result, me and a few
you're practicing. Oh my god! Okay.
no, because I wasn't going to, but then it turns out everyone else is, and I don't want to be embarrassed too much.
Project Cars is fantastic. Anyway, it's really good.
Yeah, so I got that, and it's pretty difficult. But then I spoke to my mate Joe, and he's actually we're playing with all his assists on. Okay, right, I was playing on realistic mode, whatever it was. But no, it's fun. I haven't really probably gone to a racing game in a long time, but I'm gonna definitely dedicate some time to this because I don't want to be embarrassed in front of all the other bigger boys on the stag do.
Do any of the people that you're going with, do they listen to this show?
Joe does, and
maybe
someone else does.
Hi Joe, how's it going? After the stag do, can you give an honest account of how Matt got on Project Cars 2 in VR? Because I'd really love to know, because I know how serious Matt will take this.
Well, I know 100% serious, Dave. You know that.
Yes, no, 100%. Yeah, I know you will. That's not in question. What's in question is how well you do and how downplay it you do after.
Okay, I'll tell you now. I'll take it 100% seriously. I'll perform poorly, and I'll feel incredibly bad for a long time, but I'll brush it off and say I was fine.
So, Joe, please let us know. Go to the contact form and let us know. Please, Joe, you got to complete it.
Yeah, so that's why I'm playing a little bit Project Cars 2 every day, and when I'm going to own that stag do. Actually, I'm probably not, because someone else has got a wheel and pedals, so, I think they're taking it a bit too far.
So when is this stag do? June, July. Okay, so you're hoping that it'll all be lifted by then, right?
Yeah, yeah. So it is. It's early July. So yeah.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
Matt,
all right. Well,
but I'm practicing, which is going to be more embarrassing when I really fuck up, and and what's going to be the most embarrassing thing probably is that one, I'll be shit, and two, after a lap I'm like, oh guys, I feel really sick, I can't do it. It's like, don't you work at VR studio?
You get what?
Have you played a lot of VR? Yeah. Why are you? Oh, it's embarrassing. So,
I was just thinking of what socially distance.
There is a career mode where you can start basically from go-karts all the way up. So I started doing that, and but it feels kind of framey to me. I mean, it's not like I'm only used to incredibly smooth racing games or anything, but. Some bits I'm like,
it does have its moments. It does have its moments with that. I appreciated how seriously it took everything though, and I got into it. And specifically the first game. I played a bit of the second game, but not as much as the first. And the fact that I got to the point where I was like, I'm really frustrated with how hard I'm finding this, really frustrated. So I literally just sat down and forced myself to do the go-karting for ages. And it was like, oh, right, okay, this is legitimately taking me through like the experience of working my way up to the bigger cars. And it did that stuff really well. So, yeah, but it's funny, isn't it? Like, Project Cars is that game that all the VR stuff and, the big displays and stuff at EGX and that, it's always running Project Cars.
Scene and all sorts.
Yeah. It's nuts.
Yeah, but what I'm appreciating is the fact there is, like, Formula Renault, which is, getting close to F1, and, like, and go-karts and touring cars, and there's so many different classes. If you're massively into one particular type of motorsport, or just want to play one particular type of race and or car, there's loads of stuff for you to check out there. But this is the thing. I'm going to try and play a little bit every day, get better, and then get embarrassed in front of everyone else at the stag do.
I look forward to it. Please get in contact, Joe. Right, anything else?
That's it for me.
Cool. Should we get onto questions?
Yes.
Just quickly though, Matt. So not only is Final Fantasy IX on Game Pass, you played it 9 months ago, according to the app.
Well, it's probably
was it
one of those
rewards
really
points,
really stuck with you.
That was probably one of those things where basically you just literally download it and turn it on and you get the points.
Yeah.
Guarantee it. I was on Game
Honestly,
Pass.
you with reward points is like the cop waking up at the start of Disco Elysium, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Do you know what I mean? Where you look back and see the wreckage you left behind you.
Yeah.
You don't remember none of it.
Well, no, I mean, I don't know. What's worse, me having, started the game, and that must have been almost certainly one of those ones where you just literally started to get the thing pop up. All the games where I literally just like put in codes or commands to get all the achievements. I mean, Subnautica, Limmy's been streaming that. I've watched a bit. This looks great. And even before I saw Limmy streams, even before Microsoft Reward Points, people were saying, if you loved Outer Wilds, then you'll actually really like Subnautica. There's a lot of similar vibes to it, but it's underwater. And I'm like, okay, cool. I mean, but I've got every achievement for it now. I mean, I don't remember a single second because I was just like, using commands and stuff. But I'll tell you what, it is so good not being on that train anymore. I'm just,
no shit.
There's so much time in my day. I'm not Googling, every letter of the alphabet or dog breeds. I'm not downloading random games for 50 gig a time just to literally like 50 gig download just to like start it, bang, get a pop up, down, delete it now. It's like, what's the fucking point?
Matt,
I've got a gorgeous keyboard.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Okay, cool. So FF9 is on Game Pass, but again, with me, it really is about where can I play it, and I
stream it to your phone.
Yeah,
it's only a JRPG, so it doesn't matter if it's not, if there's a bit of latency or whatever.
Actually.
Also, right, when we were originally talking about you and this game reward stuff, you were like, no, Dave, you don't get it. It's like 30 seconds a day I spend on this. And now the truth is rolling out. I've got so much time back. Yeah, those 30 seconds must be killing, Matt. Yeah, really, or was it more than that?
Yeah, it's like gambling. So look, it's a £1 bet. What's the matter? It's like, oh no, it's actually a £100 bet. Look, what I'm saying is,
a couple of extra zeros.
I'm out of that. I mean, actually, I genuinely feel a bit worried because right now I haven't got an obsession. So that, like,
okay, what was it? Make vacuuming and cleaning your obsession.
Yeah, what do you make? Sorting this fucking house out your obsession. You lazy twat.
Yeah, DIY. Make that your obsession.
Imagine if that was my obsession.
Oh,
Jill,
God,
please stop the DIY. Stop the research and stop knocking the holes in the walls.
But imagine like coming to visit you after all this is over and like walking in and it's like a completely, the Google Home stuff will be insane in there.
Yeah.
Make me a sandwich. Just like you've got like a little robot comes up. Hello, sir. That little butler.
All the walls moving.
Right, yeah, if you want to send us a question, go to tcgs.co/dear TCGS. Jeremy Astrology 1000 piece foil puzzle Smithsonian's cheesecake says, hi guys, I recently got an Oculus Quest 2. I think I've only heard you talk about Beat Saber. I was wondering what you think of games like Pistol Whip or the Room VR. I found it made a nice change from my living room. We talk about lots of Switch indie games, not complaining, it's great, but we'd be really interested in your thoughts on more Oculus games. I mean, obviously you've just had a few. the Room VR is amazing. Like it's proper
you
good.
like that as well, didn't you, Matt? You played through that.
I never played the VR version. I love the ones on mobile, but never.
Really?
Oh man, definitely check it out. It's proper good.
Just didn't, time in it.
It's a bit creepy, but like what I love about the Room is,
As in scary, or
no, yes, it's just unnerving.
Even the iOS games are unnerving, aren't they?
Yeah, but what I found, what I find fascinating about the Room is they always tread this really careful line of like, the things that seem unnerving or potentially scary are just because you don't understand them. Like, you're never actually in any danger. It's just stuff that seems weird because you're messing with, like, occult shit. But it's actually all fine once you get your head around it. But yeah, no, the VR.
I don't know, man.
really
when
good.
that dude disappeared from that painting in that first Room game, that done me in a little bit.
Yeah, that was weird. But it's still whip. I've played it. I've not really got into it. It's for those of you who haven't played it, it's essentially like it's like an on-rails shooter, so you're just sort of being pulled through these like arenas or landscapes, whatever, enemies are coming at you, and you shoot them, and it's cool. It's like really nice.
That stuff, is it?
Nah,
basically shooting stuff
great.
in
I mean, could you recommend any on-rail shooters, Matt? At all?
Actually, I mean, it's great. It's a great question. Jeremy Astrology 1000 Piece 4 Puzzle Smithsonian Cheesecake. I mean, I would recommend Zombieland VR Headshot Fever. Great game. Yes, I work at a studio, but it's nothing about it. Even if I didn't, it's a great game. Just £15. If you like on-rail arcade shooters with leaderboards, challenging a friend, it's just a great game.
I mean, Matt. I mean, Jeremy's got an Oculus. What if he's got a PlayStation VR? I mean, is it available on that?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, James. Actually, it's coming to PlayStation VR later this year.
James, why are you getting involved
I'm
with
loving
this?
it. Yeah, it's coming to PlayStation VR later. It's coming to Vive and Steam later this year, and then PlayStation VR after that. But mostly Oculus Quest at the moment. I would recommend that.
I still can't. We've spoken about this before, but I can't still shake the whole. Whenever I hear about the Room in any context, it brings me back to when Matt was a new dad. And he would text me at 4 a.m. saying, "You got to play the Room. You played the Room yet? Where are you up to? The Room." I will wake up to 25 text messages about the Room.
Yeah, the Room was basically the first month of LSD being born. I was like, well, I could sleep because I haven't slept in 2 days, but the Room.
It would be stuff like that.
The Room is there.
Please tell me that you've started the Room, Matt. Can you?
Well,
you've told me about it.
You seriously need to sleep. It's like, I know, but the Room.
You've told me about it, told me how much you loved it, and got angry at me for not already downloading it and playing it between the hours of 1 o'clock and 6 o'clock in the morning. I can't. I was.
Why have you downloaded this? What do you mean you're asleep? Why you sleep? Don't sleep on this.
Wake up!
Download the Room, you twat.
Well, there's a few. Also, PokerStars VR. I mean, just. If you don't like poker, you don't know how to play it, but just experience sitting around. I was going to say,
it doesn't really matter because I know fuck all about poker. I had a great time playing that.
Oh god, EGX, it's so much fun. Yeah, that thing at EGX was hilarious, man. Where we were all sitting there just shooting each other and all that sort of stuff. Oh, it's good. That is good.
Do you know what else?
Games like Super Hot VR is also incredible.
Oh god, yeah. Like head and shoulders above the original, isn't it? It's like it's practically a different game. It's really good.
Oh, could we do a community night on PokerStars VR? Possibly.
How would that work?
You could do a private table, and you just tell people what the password is, and then anyone with a thing could just join.
How many people can join at once?
8, I think, maximum.
Okay.
Okay. I'll have a think. You could stream it as well, couldn't you, Sean?
Yeah. Easy.
Oh my god, why are we not doing this now? God damn.
I keep getting tempted when I see, it's one of those games that's been on everything, Mini Motor Racing X or whatever it's called. And it's like, it was on
the one where it's like a toy, toy thing in front of you, right?
Because I had it on my phone like ages ago, and then I got it. I saw it was like £2 on Switch, so it's a good one to play with Isaac. But yeah, there's a VR version of that where you can play it, obviously, like in the sat in the car and with the steering wheel and stuff. But there's also an RC mode, so you're like looking down at the track from above, and you've got one of those little controllers with the little steering wheel and the trigger on it. And I'm really tempted with that because it looks good. But yeah, Right, Corey, the T-Foul Cool Touch RK1568 UK rice cooker says, "Hey guys, it's me again.
My favourite.
I took the feedback from last week and added a kitchen appliance to my name. I was a few minutes late to last week's show because I got caught up in the beautiful world of Sayonara Wild Hearts, which I think of as more of an interactive art piece than a video game. The question is, do you guys think that there are any other games that are more interactive art pieces than games?"
Gotcha.
Flow?
Yeah.
God, there's loads of them, right? That feel like that. PlayStation used to be great at releasing stuff like that.
Yeah.
More recently, Greece felt like that to me a little bit.
I heard that a lot, but once I played Greece, I was like, actually, there's way more to it than I thought there was based on what people
especially
were saying.
towards the end when it starts pulling all the different abilities together and stuff. It's actually quite an accomplished platformer, but yeah.
There's less gameplay to Journey than there is Greece.
Yeah.
Journey very much feels like a interactive art piece.
Electroplankton.
This doesn't necessarily mean
definitely.
Interactive art piece in this context doesn't necessarily mean it requires it's less gameplay and more of an experience because Sayonara still got things to do.
Yeah,
that's not just like a turn your brain off and it kind of plays it for you.
No, yeah, I suppose so. But what is the question then, Mark? Mark.
Mark.
Yeah, come on, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
What's the question then, Mark? Because is it what turns it from an interactive art piece from a video game to an is games art? That's what we're asking.
I was gonna,
someone's finally asked it.
Yeah, I think it's one of those distinctions that has been blurring for years now. So I suppose my real answer is don't worry about it too much. Pretty much all games are art, and yes, some of them will lean less into mechanical stuff. But yeah, there's a risk of coming across as if you're sort of implying that they're any sort of less valid or they've not really put any game mechanics in this, but it looks nice, which isn't necessarily.
If we're including games like that, then I would say the Unfinished Swan is definitely up there because that is that does some really cool shit.
Yeah, and there's plenty of things where the mechanics are the art of it. It's
Yeah, I'd also include what is the Edith Finch, is it?
Oh, yeah.
What Remains of Edith
Finch.
Yeah, I would say that's up there, although that's more narrative.
Anything that's an expression of somebody's trying to communicate something, you can class it that way. It's
exactly, and more often, like I say, over the last few years, there are plenty of examples of games doing that with mechanics.
Yeah, I mean a lot of David Cage games.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yes.
I mean, but they rely on the strength of the brilliant
answer
writing.
To this is Detroit Become Human, isn't it? That's the.
When I read this question, I thought, what's the game that's really felt like that for me? And it has been something like Tetris Effect. And I know there's lots of there's things to do in there, but that playing VR with the music and
Tetris Effect is an interesting
and
one.
The flow state and you people know how to play Tetris. It's just drill. It's just there without have to do anything. You just know that it. But that combined with the visuals and the music, that felt truly like interactive art.
And that's an interesting one because obviously it's because Tetris has been around for so long and is already mechanically a brilliant video game. And it's like Tetris Effect is right, well, let's just take that and dress it up in the most incredible way, which again is not to diminish what Tetris Effect does. And there are, as I say, there are sort of mechanical tweaks to it. But yeah, that's an interesting one because that, as I say, that's like taking an existing game and elevating it, aesthetically.
God, it makes me want to play it again. Actually, in VR, it's so good.
I was thinking that's on the Quest as well.
It is, yeah. I played it on the Quest.
Yeah. I've got on PSVR. I should probably do that.
I'm also thinking the chainsaw mechanic in Gears of War, and I think that Jonathan Blow would agree with me.
I think he would.
Loves that
shit. I think he would, mate. Yeah,
for sure.
Right.
Mad not to.
Sainsbury's Home Small Check Terry Tea Towels Charcoal x5 says, I think I noticed that James has been using the new Xbox Series official headset. Is it any good? Apologies if this has already been covered, but I don't think I'd heard you talk about it. Thanks.
I have, and yes, it is excellent. I can't remember if I talked about it on the show, but yeah, I
did,
got this. Yeah, and it is very good. It's a great headset. I'm very, very pleased with it so far.
I'm picking one up tomorrow.
Yeah.
Getting one tomorrow. Yeah, I want one now. So I'm getting one. Fuck everyone. What are you going to do about it?
I'll tell me what to do. Fuck off. Peter Betamax says, I wanted to give everyone the opportunity to answer a question that only Sean answered last week. So, would you have done the bum thing for a bit more money? Cheers. I can't remember what the bum thing was.
There's so many elements to this.
I didn't even know the context.
What this was. Yeah, I don't remember.
Apparently, I answered it and I don't remember it.
Yeah, so if you were doing a it was when you were signing up for scientific
it's a medical research thing.
Yeah, medical research thing, and it was if you had to take some sort of pill, but it had to be up the butt. Like, would you? How much more money would it be? Like, and that's yes, I think we would all do that, but our prices would be different, right?
I think we've already established that I do $2,000's fine. You know, it's that'd be all right.
$2,000 but how often? For like 6 months, once a week.
Wow, that'd be easy. Yeah, fine. That's all right.
That'd be easy.
Do that anyway.
Yeah.
If someone offers you £1,500, you're like, nah.
Well, no, yeah, obviously more. No.
That's the
for
thing.
$2,000 for $2,000 over 6 months, every week you've got to pop a pill up your bum. No
I don't
thanks.
think it's a massive sacrifice. It's, you know.
Yeah, it's not an invasion. It's just a medical procedure.
Yeah.
It's not.
Dave, after week 2, you won't even know you're doing it anymore. You're like, bang.
Yeah, no, but $2,000 over 6 months.
A kettle in the morning.
I don't know about that. I'd say 5 maybe over 6 months. That makes it at least a little bit.
I don't think. I think we'll all undercut you, and they'll say, we won't go with Dave, but we'll go with James.
Yeah. You're missing out.
But
there,
I've
Dave.
got high quality anus.
It's not about the anus. It's about the test results. I don't think they're judging on the quality of the anus. They're just calling on results. Judging on results, not my anus. Is what I've always said that.
It's part of it. It's part of it. You know that the scientists are there going, yeah, but do we have to go for a really sloppy anus? Or can we move on? Let's move on.
Oh, God. That's the episode title.
Maria Mendieta.
Sloppy anus.
Maria Mendieta
don't bring it up again.
says, Dear TCGS coping mechanism for us all. Even though James gloated to his wife about completing the 30-star challenge in 3D World, you all strike me as unassuming individuals. Which brings me to my question.
So I'll stop you there.
Mm-hmm.
How is that? How would you strike that? How would you get to that point? Let me make something clear, and something that's always bugged me, because there's been a sense of feeling with podcasters that want to be relatable and, hey, I haven't got an ego, right? If you're willing to record your own voice and upload it and expect people to download and listen to it, you have a massive ego. There's no getting around it. James Farley, massive ego. Sean Bell, massive ego. Me, don't even need to say it. Matt Murray, similar. Like, it's people who podcast are not unassuming individuals ever. Like, that's strict that from the record. But okay, that's the impression we get.
Did you ever hear Richard O'Hardy on Adam Buxton's podcast?
Yeah, I must have done. Yeah, but I don't know what you're
referred to the act of podcasting as an act of monstrous self-regard, which I thought was spot on.
That's pretty much it.
Anyway, so Maria says, which brings me to my question. Present day Tim Westwood offers to pimp your ride himself, but only the bonnet and only using a lesser known video game character's face. What massive decal do you choose to slap onto your cars? Keeping it natural.
Blinks the time sweeper.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Lesser known. Blinks is massive.
Voodoo Vince would be a good one. Is there no Earthworm Jim doesn't count. Plus the creator's a dickhead, so now forget that.
Again, the guy in the underpants in the Yakuza game that dances around. Right on that bonnet. Get that on that bonnet.
Yep.
I'd love that.
That'd be good.
Matt? You only know the big guns, don't you? You only know the main ones.
What
you know, the Halo guy.
Right,
you can have the Toyota Celica from Sega Rally.
Yeah, fucking hell yeah. No, I was going to go Lancia Stratos, actually.
Okay.
Painting a car on a car is a bit sad, though, isn't it?
It's especially if it's like a better car on a shit one.
I'm driving this, but I really like this one.
I'm going to go. I don't know if his name's correct, but is it Ting? Was it Tingle?
Yeah, Tingle, yeah.
Yeah,
Tingle.
Yeah.
I don't know if he counts as lesser known, though. People fucking love Tingle.
Tingle's quite well known, though, isn't he?
Yeah, he's reasonably well known.
Yeah.
Tingle dude.
Okay. You want a Tingle in your car?
Yeah, that fizzled out, didn't it?
I'm sticking Tingle dude on my car.
Right, last one. MD Krabuffs says, Dear Tidy Colonoscopy Gnome Search, have you ever had a secret admirer?
How would I know?
No, you know what I mean. Like, absolutely not. Never. I've never heard of anyone fancying me. I've never heard of anyone. Like, I've never had like a.
Joe obviously fancies you. Fancied you. Has fancied.
At some
I'm
point.
not so sure she did. I think it was just. I was like a rebound guy. I think I was one of those.
Hey, it's the rebound guy.
Listen, sometimes those things can work out. It's fine.
I've never had a Valentine's Day card. Like,
no, me neither.
From anyone that I wasn't already in a relationship with. I just, that's not. There's always, when you look like this, it's rare. It's rare to get a secret admirer.
So when I worked,
you fancy the Mr. Bean guy? that's the conversations I imagine happening.
When I worked in catering, one of the girls there said I was everyone's secret crush, and I thought that's not really as big a compliment as you might have thought.
It's like we're saying, what's the what they call it when you like a song that everyone like that you really should hate?
Guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasure, yeah.
It's
a guilty
I like
pleasure.
This, but I'm ashamed of it.
Sean Bell, guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
Sean Bell, guilty. Put in your business card. Signature on your emails. Sean Bell, guilty pleasure.
So there's that, and then there was one girl in high school, but I wasn't interested. That's harsh.
That is incredibly harsh. What an arsehole.
Yeah, sorry.
What an absolute cad.
No, and it was like,
Bastard.
yeah, and then sort of later on, I was like, oh, she was actually really sound. Why didn't? Yeah, what a dick.
Wasn't interested, baby.
No way. Too busy playing games, baby.
Yep.
James,
got anime to watch, mate.
Nope, never.
Not true.
Do we not
about
true?
the woman in the hotel that kept buying you drinks.
That doesn't count. That was horrible.
No, it doesn't count, though.
Just because it was horrible doesn't mean it doesn't count.
I mean, for new listeners, David can't just say, what about the woman in the hotel, and James saying that doesn't count. They need more information than that.
No, well, it's not a secret admirer, so it doesn't really count. But James went away on his own. Was it a work trip?
No, it was. Okay, Chen was away in China because her mum was having a liver transplant, and so I had the kids.
That makes the story worse.
Yeah, and then James goes to the hotel.
No, I had the kids on my own for about 2 months, which was horrible, as you'd imagine.
I remember this.
And
yeah.
And then I took them on holiday for a week's holiday to this place because I just needed a break, honestly, from it. And then while I was there, everyone thought I was a single dad on, which is fine, you can understand that. But even though I told them I'm not, my wife's just in China.
No, she's real. She's alive.
Classic line.
She's real. And there was this woman there who was interested, and she bought me drinks and stuff, and I was very uncomfortable. I felt very uncomfortable about the whole thing. It was awful.
But how many drinks did you accept, James?
Just 1 or 2, but you can't say no, can you? It's
1 or
just
2, that means 5.
Yeah.
But no, I felt very, very uncomfortable. I hated it. It was not good at all. I spent most of the time trying to avoid her, like the whole time. It was just I felt very uncomfortable.
Matt?
Cool.
Nah, look at me. Nah, it's, no.
Well, you're a lovely looking lad.
No.
I don't know about that.
Nah, no chance. Just,
Okay.
I was never that kind of, look at the face.
It's all right. You've got a nice face.
Yeah, what's wrong with your face? Nothing.
No. I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe millions. Unlikely.
Have you ever thought about?
Okay, well, what a depressing end to the podcast.
I was going to say, have you ever thought about how what would it be like to just start an OnlyFans and just see who signs up? Because you probably know them all.
Here we
What's
go. Right?
OnlyFans?
Well, you know what OnlyFans is?
No.
Well, it's like people sign up and you basically they get access to some private pictures or videos.
It's a porn site. It's a porn site.
Okay, a porn site. Okay,
not necessarily, but
it's porn.
And it's just a better way of like a lot of people.
It can be whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have to be porn. I guess
it's a porn site.
Right. Okay. So we sign up to that, and then what happens?
You post stuff, and people can pay for it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So James is doing this then, right?
That's where I'm going.
We all do it for a month and see who gets the most subs.
No. James does a test run first, right?
Absolutely not. There's no way I'd do anything like that. It's ridiculous.
Oh, butt naked on the bed.
James, you don't have to get your dick out. I'm thinking like feet pics or something. I mean,
well, this is it. It depends what people start asking for. People start messaging you like, seriously, $2,000 for a dick pic. Let's go.
No. I reckon we can all find our own niche on there. Doesn't have to be full blown nudity.
Yeah.
1 month challenge.
What else is it going to be?
Dave's just like, people can't see me completely nude. What's the point?
That's the first time we've ever said that, James.
What happens if you sign up and then someone contacts you and says, I will offer you $2,000 to stick a pill up your bum for 6 months, once a week,
and video it,
have to do it
and put it online.
You lucky bastard, Sean.
You're gonna have to do it.
Matt, do the socials.
I would definitely do that. Well, I guess I'll have to find out what a pill is first. But that's an easy $2,000, isn't it?
Matt, do the socials?
Yes, well, socials. This Thursday, Sean is streaming Sea of Thieves with Cameron Toman and Chris Spann.
Oh my God, I'm going to become a fucking pirate legend, mate.
Have you told about the rules?
Is that like the equivalent of like Prestiging or something, Sean?
Pretty much. It's when you hit rank 50 in any 3 of the trading companies, factions, whatever they are. And then it gets you access to like a whole other load of stuff to do and new customization stuff and a secret pub in the pub. There's like a secret door that takes you through to a different area and stuff. It's probably going to be really underwhelming, but I'm very excited.
So your stream with Chris Spann and Cameron Toman, are they already rank 50?
No.
Are they anywhere near?
They're not far off.
So what I'm saying is, are you going to go to the pub on your own?
No. So they can come with me to the secret pub and stuff.
You're allowed 2 guests.
Be really shit stream if I was just like, right, cheers guys, I'm off.
You guys can't get in because you're fucking 30s. You're losing.
Yeah. Bunch of
nice. Well, no, that's this Thursday. Sean streaming Cameron Toman and Chris Spann Thursday night at 9 p.m. Yep. Sean.
Yep.
Cool. And this Friday, James and I are continuing our It Takes Two stream. James and I are still massively enjoying that, of course. That's Friday night at 9 p.m.
It's such a good game.
Yeah,
we really got it when it ends. I mean, I still kind of think we're still probably only about halfway through, but
you got a long way to go. Yeah,
loving it. It's still great fun. That's Friday night at 9 p.m. You can watch both of those streams on twitch.tv/TCGSco, or just search TCGS in the app. And if you miss it live, you can watch it on YouTube. Just search for TCGS on YouTube. But if you've got Amazon Prime, you've got Twitch Prime Gaming. With that, you get 1 free sub every single month, and we would love it. Absolutely love it if you went over to our channel, gave us your free sub. We're on Patreon, patreon.com/TCGS. We get exclusive podcasts, exclusive live talks overs. The monthly podcast is out now. We talk about everything from Prince Philip, personal bits, COVID.
There's a lot
TV.
of nutsack talk. There's a lot of genitals.
I was going to say, because this nearly ended up the same way, didn't it?
Now, if you're at the £4.50 above tier, there's the talks over as well, which you will watch live if you're on $8.50 above, and so on and so forth. And tcgs.co is the website where there's links to the store. And I promise, I can't remember the name of the person, but like someone has messaged me saying, are you going to update tote bags? I will bloody update those tote bags because I want one myself.
We've got to do a refresh of that store, haven't we? We've got to put some new t-shirts out. Streamline it a bit because there's far too many.
We do.
Put a new t-shirt design out for the summer. Get a summer range out there. We got to do that actually. I want more. I've only got 2 hoodies. I need a third, and I want like a plain t-shirt with big letters TCGS across the front. You know what I mean? That's what I want.
We can
get
do
that done, Matt.
Well, can we say like Frankie says TCGS?
No, there's not. No, that sounds horrendous. But my idea sounded great.
No, but we definitely need like a summer 2021 t-shirt. We'll get that out.
We'll get that sorted. Listen, it's weird. It's a weird time at the moment. No one knows what's going to happen next. But we all hope that you're doing all right. And
where's this come
we
from?
will see you next week for more video game chat. Goodbye, everyone. We love you. Thanks for living it. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.